Well, everyone, we are back and ready to do this. This is Triple Threat, and we're going to give our respect. Jesus. You wait till the. Jesus.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, thank you, Mr. Captain. Let's butt in and mess about intro.
Don't try, just keep posting.
Whatever. This is Triple Threat, and today we're going to talk about our thoughts about Wrestlemania, which, in Daniel's phrase, was well done, actually.
Yeah.
With all the complaints that we did on the last show, this was pretty much a kick-ass WrestleMania. But let me introduce the crew. To my right, the California Kid.
Hey, what's up?
And to my front, introduce yourself.
I'm Tommy. I'm a friend of Dan's. We go way back, and wrestling was pretty much the foundation of our friendship.
Sure enough.
What better foundation could there be, right?
Exactly.
And on the phone, the man, the myth, and the interrupter, the pipe.
The interrupter. Easy.
Yeah. I wasn't going to do so long speech, but just, yeah.
Man, should I do like Daredevil and throw a microwave at you?
Well, thanks for the spoiler, man.
Yeah, really.
Really a spoiler.
I mean, just, I would like to be surprised through the whole thing, I like to think I will watch it eventually, or just do like everybody else and download it. That's like the most downloaded thing I heard about that. Adding Game of Thrones, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, spoiler! They have released the 5 episodes of Game of Thrones season 5.
That is the most downloaded show in history.
Hey, what you expect? I mean, most.
The funny thing is, it's the most downloaded, but it's still a ratings hit.
Well, that's that good, but HBO has the tendencies of that to happen. I mean, True Blood was like that before it ended.
I don't think HBO really gives a fuck.
Well, not until the DVD.
Compared to other,
well, not till
HBO is like the one that don't care at all.
Well, not till the DVD sales. Till it gets out on DVD, then they'll care. But as long as they give it buzz.
They're gonna buy the DVDs regardless. It's like Star Trek, man. They're gonna buy that shit regardless.
Yeah.
Very true.
Before we get started, let me just say this: if you have not, please watch Daredevil. This is without a doubt will blow your fucking mind.
I agree wholeheartedly.
It was shit on both Arrow and the Flash.
It crushes both of us. It's that good.
Trust me, man. Trust me. You watch.
The same shit about Doctor Who.
Watch the first 3 episodes. You tell me it doesn't shit on Arrow and the Flash.
It'll catch you at episode 1.
How many episodes?
It doesn't matter, dude.
How many episodes are there thus far?
All right. For those that don't know, when you let me explain something. I'm gonna talk first. For those that don't know, when Netflix does a series, they release all the episodes.
Oh, it's all out. Okay.
So
oh wow. Okay, wonderful. I can keep watching. Yes.
So, it's 13 episodes because they're gonna do this. They're Jessica Jones next. Then next year is gonna be Luke Cage and then Iron Fist. Then they're gonna do the Defenders if everything's successful.
So they're not gonna add more Daredevils. These are the 13 that they all have, and that's just
it. Like what they do to Marvel movies. They show this movie, then they do the collector, the whole thing together.
Because all the episodes are out for season 1.
All right. Okay.
And they probably, I don't know for sure because they haven't said that they renewed it for a second season, but it's definitely said it is, but they didn't make it official yet.
Right.
But
I'm pretty sure they will. Usually with the Netflix shows, they'll announce right off the bat if it's going to be renewed, like a day or so after.
But if they do a second season, then it might be next season. Because I think, probably can help me out on this. I think they say all the new episodes for the shows that already been out come out in April, all of them.
Oh, okay.
I think they made that a rule now that all the shows they already been out, like House of Cards and Hemlock Grove, will all come out in August.
I got several friends who are addicted to that House of Cards thing. I haven't watched it personally.
I hate that. I hate I'm missing it right now.
But I'm telling you, Pike, this was shit on Arrow and The Flash.
You're not caught up on Arrow and Flash stuff, so you don't.
No, I'm talking about the series. I'm talking about as a whole, man.
I know that Arrow season 3 has been awesome because a lot of people have told me, but I'm hearing that. But after seeing, I mean, Shaddai does have basis to say that because man, I was rarely does a series get me hooked in the first episode. Like it takes a couple of episodes most time. I'm just one of those patient people, but oh my goodness!
And I gotta give it to Chris Charles. Homeboy plays Matt Murdock and Daredevil to the T.
He does it.
I'm sure it is. I'm just saying,
he's excellent.
But touch Gotham.
But
Gotham, I don't know.
It blows Gotham out of the water.
Oh,
Gotham wish.
Okay,
Gotham,
now you're
Gotham wish they could be like Daredevil.
Oh, he says it kills Gotham.
Now you're really testing my lines because I'm a huge Gotham fan. Big one here.
Trust me, Gotham wish they could do most of the crap Daredevil was doing.
Well, the one benefit I know Daredevil must have already is they don't have to censor for television.
Dude, I told you. It's like if you take all the if you take the violence of Oz and you put it in a superhero show.
It can't just be about violence. It gotta be about a good story.
The story's there.
The story's there.
The story is there. They got the story too. It was amazing.
Trust me, whoever did this, watched the movie, saw how fucked up it was, and did their homework and fucking sat down and did what they were supposed to do to make it better.
It was a passionate fan. It had to be a passionate fan. It was a very passionate fan who made it. I didn't even pay attention to see who made it. But
you would not believe how violent this show gets. And it's supposed to be connected to the movies and stuff.
Yeah, it's it's really good. It's really good. But yeah.
But we'll talk about more when we all finished seeing the season. Hopefully, Pike can get his streaming bag or find other ways to watch it.
I do just fine with my mail, thank you. I seriously, whenever I go on Facebook saying Netflix, where they always assume stream, it's like I still get mail, folks. I mean,
it's the craziest guy on this shit.
I have been thinking about switching back since House of Cards came out. Now Daredevil, so it's like they can't touch Netflix now.
No.
The only ones that could probably touch Netflix is HBO.
Well, yeah, what they are. I think they say $12 for the online service, stream service.
I mean, like in terms of the product.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like what show wise, like maybe HBO, Showtime, maybe I think FX still got it.
FX maybe.
Yeah. But enough of that. Let's get down to, like I said before, Wrestlemania was a few weeks ago. So
I actually finally did buy the network.
Oh, awesome. Welcome to the club.
We were contemplating we were going to watch it, and we got it the day of Mania, which I really wish we waited a few days and subscribed in April.
Would have been free.
It's fucking free.
Trust me, man, it'll be worth all of that $9.99 within time.
Yeah. It'll be worth the money.
Yeah. The first thing as soon as we got it, the first thing I did was watch a Hideo match.
Oh yeah, Hideo, yeah, you watched.
I mean, which match? Shit, I can't remember which match it was, but
probably one against Tyler Breeze.
That's the first thing I did was that, and watched the Monday Night War, and then we watched Mania, which we're about to talk about.
Yeah. But before we talk about Mania, let's talk about the Hall of Fame. Pretty good class. We start out with Rikishi getting inducted. I gotta say, Jay and the Uso Bros, their speech was kind of lame.
I did like how they showed the picture of Rikishi's backside, and then they were like, "That's what put us through college." I was laughing at that. I'm not gonna lie.
That was funny.
That was good.
Because I'm sure that is entirely the truth.
Well, technically, yeah, it is. It is what got me through college.
I mean, if you watch his Hall of Fame promo, that's what you're looking at half the time.
But the big news from that was that Rikishi somehow got both Sky Too Hottie and Grandmaster Sensei banned from the Hall of Fame. He wasn't invited to the Hall of Fame. He didn't acknowledge them in their speech. And
I wondered about that.
And on Twitter, Sky Too Hottie mentioned it, and a lot of people talking about, well, he had, he was sour because he was in there. And he said he wasn't sour, he just wanted to be, recognized. And there have been reports that it had to do with some booking or something, and also Rakishi's partner in the Headhunters wasn't invited.
Yeah.
So what do y'all think about Rikishi getting the Hall of Fame? Do you think it was worth it?
I thought, it's kind of, for me, when I first found out he was going to get inducted, I thought, really? Rikishi over, like, several other people that come to mind? But, when you look back on it, Rikishi was kind of a different feel for the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
He was one of the first times the Attitude Era wasn't so verbal. He was just more about the fun side of it. So after thinking about it and rewatching some of the Attitude Era's biggest pay-per-views, he did kind of have a spark that nobody else had at that time. So I understood it.
He was likable, and he had a certain. He had a certain charm. He had a certain look for us. Like with all the silly stuff, he could actually be a pretty tough competitor too. And it was pretty, for his size, he did pull off some decent matches.
And you gotta give him credit because a lot of other guys that are big like him can't say it. He knew how to wrestle.
For his build to have that features that he did, for his build, he made it work. It's a testament to what he had because he wasn't the traditional build for a big man.
Yeah.
He wasn't that traditional build, but he made it work.
But yeah, I could swallow him going into WWE Hall of Fame. It just seemed kind of like a shock over several others.
Yeah.
Well, I do agree that he kind of does deserve to go in the Hall of Fame, but he really should have gave some love to Too Cool because let's face it,
they
without
made
them,
They
he
did make
really had been as big. I mean, you want proof of, how they did.
Mm-hmm.
Look at what he did when he tried to become a heel and how well that turned out.
No, that didn't go well.
It worked like shit, basically.
Yeah, the thing about it, Too Cool, man. When you think of Too Cool, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Rikishi.
And what, but I mean, some fans would argue that the first thing that comes to mind is the Worm.
Yeah, I was about to say that's what comes to my mind.
But he did kind of. Well, his son did kind of a shout out. He did do the Worm, so there you go.
I mean, yeah. But, like I said, Too Cool, I would have liked them to acknowledge Too Cool because it was part of his thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
the question, though, there is, and I don't think anyone other than Vince could answer it accurately, but it's like, okay, really, who made who more? Did Too Cool make Rikishi, or did Rikishi end up making them more famous? I mean, it's almost like a co-op sort of thing.
They both equally helped each other, I think, because when you think, Grandmaster Sexay wasn't as over as Scotty 2 Hotty.
No.
He wasn't. Scotty 2 Hotty was way more over.
Yeah.
And to some degree, at times, it was between Scotty and Rikishi, really. Really, those two. Grandmaster Sexay was just a backup singer. But he did his job. He did a good job for what it was, but it was mostly Scotty who was over.
Yeah.
Scotty was over, But yeah, that's what it was there.
Yeah. Anything you want to throw in, Pike?
I would have given him a few years.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think that's why it shocked me the most.
A few more years, yeah.
Well, he's in though, so good for him. And he had some funny moments, and he's about that ass, man.
And that theme music was awesome. I loved it.
Oh yeah.
It's all about that ass.
90s house, baby.
And congrats to him. But I would have waited a few years.
Yeah, I probably would have too.
Yeah.
I think they should do something in the WWE Hall of Fame like they do with baseball. You have to have been retired for a minimum number of years before you can be inducted.
Yeah.
I think they should do something like that.
There does need to be a cap. I do agree. There does need to be a cap on certain people.
Yeah. So we're going to the next induction, and it's Larry Zbyszko, who's inducted by the great Bruno Sammartino. Great speech by Bruno, talked about how him and Larry met when he came to his house and he trained him. Then Larry came out on stage and pretty much repeated the same thing 8 times. But, Larry's old. So
Larry man.
He's the living legend. I remember kind of ashamed of myself when they announced Larry because I thought, oh yeah, the living legend. How did I forget about this guy?
Well, if you listen on the MLW radio, they made fun of it. Conan did that, saying that they should have done Larry or, act like they're going to, but don't, to mess with Larry.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, there he is.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was a shock when they said it. Then he gets inducted.
Yeah.
But it was a pretty good speech, and I did like the last part, and pretty touching. But it was great all around.
It was kind of hard to look at Zabisco because he's lost a lot of weight since he was in WCW.
Yeah, I mean, he's been aging.
Oh yeah.
But he's more remembered for his stint with Nitro as a commentator.
Oh yeah, that was really what made him very Hall of Fame worthy, because not only was he good in the ring, but he was able to kind of generate his character so that it fit our time as well as the time before.
He did do that.
And he had really good, I think, I don't know about in ring necessarily, but he had good verbal chemistry with Eric Bischoff when they were feuding, and also with Scott Hall. Like I love the bits where he got in Scott Hall's face. They were very good. I thought.
That was good.
Yeah.
But
Larry Land, we're going to Larry Land. I remember him saying that we're going to Larry Land.
Yeah.
I remember one time Scott Hall and Nash called the phone on Nitro, and when Tony Schiavone asked them, "Where are you guys right now?" He said, "We're at Larry's house watching a black and white television."
Thank God, that was great.
That was one of those things that you just knew it was on the spur of a moment, and it just made it better.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you got anything you want to say about this one, Frank?
Larry Land.
I love the feud with him and Sting.
Oh, I forgot about it.
Like, so this is gonna stand. Well, very deserving. He really should have been there, honestly. I mean, that's one of those ones I thought he was already there. So that was a mind blown.
And then at least he's there now. So
yeah.
And so with that, we go on to the next inductee. One of the best of the night, Alondra Blaze, a.k.a. Medusa.
that was good.
Who was inducted by Natty, which was awesome.
Good pick.
Very good speech. She thanked a lot of people. She thanked a lot of the women that she was wrestling with during her time with WWE. I'm pretty sure Dave can name a few.
She went up against Bull Nakano. She battled so many. I mean, it was like of course she took on when May came back, it was a good match. You name it, she's fought him. I mean, she got in there with freaking Manami Toyota one time. It was brutal. I mean, she is a legend.
She thanked Paul Heyman and said she was the first Heyman girl. She thanked the Dangerous Alliance.
Yeah, I remember that part of her career.
Which, if I remember correctly, I think it was either her or Natty that brought it up that I was scared of her.
Yeah, I think that was actually, Natty that said that.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I think that was Natty.
Said that she took off her shoe and chased Arn around.
Yeah.
That's a weird picture to see Arn as the enforcer run away from with a shoe.
Yeah. Her matches with Sherry Martel, I mean, they were just freaking tastic.
But, she thanked Paul, she thanked Arn, she thanked Larry, she thanked Ravishing Rick, she thanked Macho Man. She started to cry about that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in the crowd were crying at that moment. But you just said how she thanked Ravishing Rick Rude.
Mm-hmm.
When she added on to that a guy who I know will be inducted someday, I threw my hands up. I'm like, finally, somebody remembered him.
Somebody said something, because Rick Rude is one of those people who I feel should get in there.
I mean, if you're going to induct the woman who threw a belt in the trash on television, you got to induct the guy who appeared on both shows
at the same time.
I mean, you got to, even if they were technically hurting you at the time, you got to admire the ballsiness.
Well, Triple H might do it. I mean,
Triple H might do it.
Mending fences, so he might do it.
Triple H is a fence mender. He's doing the job.
So, she also thanked Molly Holly. She called about her WCW name, her real name. Because, she was in the group with Team Madness.
She was.
And she said, what's the girl's name that was in there with Team Madness? God, I know who she is.
Yeah, same here.
I don't recall her now.
I don't either, and I'm ashamed of myself. Really.
Gorgeous George.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. Yeah,
Gorgeous George.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. George. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then she think her husband, who was I think he's in the army.
I think so, or it might have been Air Force, but
Yeah.
but he was on tour at the time, and they specifically let him come home to see her get inducted.
Yeah, and
I thought
they
that was
got a
really
huge
good.
ovation. And the other part I liked was when Natty was talking about how fine Medusa was, and Medusa said that she didn't know about that, and I was laughing my ass off about that. I'm like, you say that, but then you wearing a dress with your stomach short.
Yeah. I was really happy that Alundra Blaze, or Medusa, whatever you want to know her best as, I was glad she got inducted because, in my opinion, honestly, she really was the first real woman wrestler.
Yeah.
She wasn't a diva. She was a wrestler.
Oh yeah. And speaking of that, they did do a skit where Natty brought a trash can. And
that was amazing.
That was great. Yes, that was really cool.
First, she took out the trash with bra and panties, and she pretty much trashed on that. Then she took out a book of Eric Bischoff's book.
Yep.
And said that they were still friends to this day.
I love that.
They got a lot of boos on the ground.
Yeah, I wonder if he would ever get inducted into the Hall of Fame, what that reaction would be like.
That'd be great. That'd be some great.
Chris Jericho mad at them.
Chris Jericho is very upset with the fans.
He would be very upset.
Chris Jericho is cursing the fans right now.
But and then out came the women's belt, and she said it was back home where it belonged. So that was a very awesome speech, and I'm just glad that whoever did it was Triple H, who helped mend the fence between her and Vince, so she can get inducted. Hats off to him.
The funny thing, I was on YouTube when I found out she was going to get inducted. I looked up on YouTube different interviews of her over the years, and she actually said in one of them that the whole thing with her and Vince, there really wasn't a lot of tension between them because Vince understood that Bischoff played the major role in getting that to happen.
Oh yeah, she did burn out one of JER's barbecue sauce too.
Yeah, that I thought was really cool. But yeah, I think Vince, in retrospect, understood a lot of the moves that happened, especially during the Monday Night War, because it was, well, not only that, but it was also just the way of the business at the time. And when you're being paid money like WCW paid people, I mean, you'll do anything they tell you. And like anybody else who did something sleazy, she was just a soldier doing as she was told. And and I think Vince understood that.
I think they took it a little bit too far because didn't they have Flair come out with the world title?
Oh yeah, now
he was showing it all that WCW didn't like that. And
the thing is, Medusa actually said in one of those interviews I was just mentioning, she did not want to do that with that belt. Like, she specifically told Eric, this is bad. But, he was the boss at the end of the day. But she was really against doing it from day one.
Yeah.
Well, they did it, and at least it made, it got controversy, creates cash.
Yeah. Nobody knew that better than Eric Bischoff, I think.
Yeah.
But, another thing I wanted to say about Medusa real quick before we move on, she really, in my opinion, could have had some great matches with the divas that we've got today.
She could have put on a good one.
I wouldn't mind seeing her versus Trish or Lita.
Yeah, that, or who I think she'd really do well with if the timing had worked out this way, her and Paige. That would have been a great match.
The British style, yeah, that would have been.
Or AJ.
Yeah, or that, yeah. But there's just a lot of divas today who are not really divas as much as they are wrestlers, and I think Alundra Blaze contributed to that.
What were you saying, Frank?
I would love to have seen her fight Beth.
Beth,
yeah.
That would have been a good match, yeah.
That would have been top notch.
Yeah. So we move on to the.
I didn't give my opinion yet.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Please.
Appreciate it, dude. No, definitely one of the greatest of all time, and it's definitely one of my favorite speeches of the night, and glad there was some closure with that belt and that trash can. You've seen it enough times, and I'm just glad that
they showed on every DVD.
It all came together, and so very happy she got in.
Yeah. That was good. Yeah.
Okay, so we move on to the next induction, and it's the Ultimate Warrior award. And they showed a video of Triple H revealing the Ultimate Warrior statue with Warrior's wife and his 2 daughters. And then Ultimate Warrior's wife came out with a trophy and said a few words about Warrior and Connor. Then Daniel Bryan came out to induct Connor. And
who didn't cry at that point? I mean,
well,
that was just like, man.
Well, in all honesty, I just skipped through it.
You didn't see the Connor stuff?
No, sadly, no.
Because you thought you were gonna cry, or you know?
Probably just did because it wasn't really about wrestling so much. I think that might have been what the deal was.
I'm not against the kid going in. I thought it was touching and everything.
A nice touching moment.
The only gripe I
what they did for him in the ring, him pinning Triple H. I mean, how many people can say they pin Triple H these days? But you know,
HBK, Hogan.
I mean, recently.
Daniel Bryan.
I thought the whole.
You know that was a rhetorical question, right?
Yes.
I thought the whole thing that they did with the Warrior Award, I thought it was a good thing. It definitely puts some more variety into the whole thing.
It's a good thing, but let's talk about this. God, what was that guy's name? The guy that used to be the announcer for SmackDown, they got let go. I think it was.
Talking about Justin.
Yeah, Justin Roberts, who had told WWE about Connor. He did a article, and he pretty much said that WWE did it for publicity.
That was a Facebook status.
Yeah, and he pretty much blasted WWE, saying that the Warrior Award was not meant for this, and he just took WWE to town, which I understand because it's a company and it's a PR stunt. It just sounded like sour grapes to me because he was the one that introduced Connor to the WWE. But the only thing I can say is, if I remember correctly, and you guys back me up or tell me if I'm wrong,
I remember, I don't know if you're going to say this, but I did agree with what you said last year that they should give a special award to crew members.
Yeah, I was there at that Hall of Fame scene there, and I agree with that.
Yeah, that's what I thought that the Warrior Award was about.
Even behind the scenes camera people, directors. I mean,
that would have been nice. That would have been way more.
Directors, the truck driver, whatever, sound people. I've been saying for years, Jim Johnson should be inducted in that.
For the music, yes. They had a.
How he is not in there is beyond me.
I mean, they had a video just a few weeks ago released on the network that just showed him going through his favorite music pieces over the years, and I remember sitting there thinking, like, man, this guy right here is to thank for so much of the popularity these guys have.
Yeah, his songs make people, man.
Yeah, and he does all of it himself. There is no, like, crew or symphony here. He really is, like, the only...
I would still have him get inducted and have Jimmy Hart do the speech.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah.
Was that what you gonna say, Big B? Was that it?
Yes.
So yeah, I think so. I got what Gemstone's coming from. What is they starting out? But still a sweet little tribute to that kid.
Yeah, but having worked on a production,
Ryan was on point about it. So.
Yeah, but having worked on a production crew, I think it would have been nice to have that award more committed to the people behind the scenes because, like, there's a lot that goes into it. Those people have to grip and grind. They're not on air talent. They actually have to bust their bums out there to get this stuff set up.
And who knows? I mean, in the coming years, it may go to that direction.
Tough with that, bro. So you got to look at the crew. What they got to do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an all day, all night shit.
It is.
Yeah. But move on to the next.
How big do you think they get paid?
That's a pretty good chunk.
I think it depends on how popular the business is. I know during the Attitude Era, everybody at WWE was making almost double what they were the year before when it really started taking off.
Yeah.
Several of them have told me that.
Salaries were
or
high.
I read that. Yeah.
The common PA probably made like $14, maybe $16 an hour, maybe you would think, because of the popular production and what you would be required to do. The more higher up set hands, probably in the $20s and $40 range. Then directors, producers, like way up there salary like.
Mm-hmm.
They probably did pretty good. They do pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to the next inductees, and it's John Laurinaitis is inducting the Bushwhackers.
Okay. This is where
I love the Bushwhackers.
I love the Bushwhackers. Chris Jericho was upset because of some of the fan reaction to this. I would have been a little upset because I like the Bushwhackers. Bushwhackers were great. They were everywhere in the 80s.
I always thought they were entertaining. Yeah.
In the 80s and 90s, they were everywhere. You could see them on every TV show.
They didn't do that walk.
God, they were. I think they were even on the Golden Girls one time. They showed up everywhere.
They were on Family Matters.
They were on Family Matters.
Yeah, I remember that episode.
They were on every TV show. They were on every interview show.
I remember that joke when they were in the tag team match with Carl and Steve, and I think Steve was telling Luke that Carl was a cop, remember? And he goes,
yeah.
What?
We hate cops.
He goes, we hate cops. And Steve's going, why? Because the cops arrested my mother last week, or last night. And he goes, why? I said, they couldn't catch her till then.
And then you have. I mean, they were on everything. They were on Ricky Lake. They were on. You name it, they were there. They showed up on everything. They were in the movies. They were in a lot of those 80s wrestling movies. They were the Bushwhackers.
Yeah.
I mean, they're part of history. Which one was it that got eliminated 2 seconds in the Rumble?
I think that was Butch. I think. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, it was one of them until Santino broke it, but
Yeah.
I love their speech.
I was very happy they got in. I wasn't complaining.
They had a good speech.
Their speech was actually, I mean, I'm not making fun of them or nothing because it's probably just the way they are, but hearing them talk normally, and it sounds just like their Bushwhacker characters. It was entertaining.
Where are they from?
New Zealand, I think, aren't they? Or somewhere over in that area, yeah. But, I mean, Butch was sitting there with his hands on those little crutches. That kind of broke my heart there. Because he couldn't lift his arms up to do the signature walk. But, I mean, he still had that grumbly voice.
Spirit,
who are we thinking, Cousin Luke?
That was awesome.
They were funny, just like their career. They were funny to watch, and they entertained the hell out of it.
They believed in the kayfabe.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought, honestly, like you said before about Larry Zbyszko, I was actually shocked that they weren't in there already.
Yeah.
Like, that was my first reaction.
They were the team of the 80s.
They were definitely one of the big tag teams of that era, because, let's face it, tag team wrestling, as we grew up watching it, is dead.
Yeah, they were over.
And
they were just over.
So many other tag teams that are coming in the next few years. You got to believe that.
Yeah. So, pretty much on to the next inductee is, I might need your help with this one. Tatsumi
Tatsumi the Dragon Fujinami.
Who was inducted by the Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Rightfully so, man. I remember when they played that video on Raw, I was like, the Dragon!
I went crazy. The original Dragon, I went crazy, man. Like, I was, and what really put a little bit of faith for me back in WWE as a company and as a business is the fact that they did something that hadn't been done over there on the Turner side of things. They actually counted. They counted his NWA title thing. They counted his NWA title run, and they also counted his run with the IWGP title. He held both those titles at the same time, and that was very cool of them to do. I was so happy that they counted both of those. Those matches were monumental, and that did happen in Japan. He did beat Ric Flair for that title.
Yeah, I watched that pay-per-view, actually, a tape of it when I was real little, but I always remember that pay-per-view because when he beat Flair, he was supposed to have been disqualified because he threw Flair over the top rope, and back then that was against the rules. But then I remember backstage at the end of the pay-per-view, he's doing this press conference with his new title belt. Flair comes storming in there with his head all bandaged up from, because, Flair bled all the time. He walks in there like going, that's like, where are the officials here? And then he walks right up to Fujinami in the middle of this press conference and just snatches the belt from him. He's like, that's my belt. You want this? You come get it in America. And then he just leaves. And I'm like, does he even realize that he's right? That it should have been disqualified? I mean, but Ric Flair it was awesome. Man.
I was glad they went with it, though. Because here's another thing. It's a good thing for Japanese wrestling in general that they would do something like this. It brings about hope. It brings hope. It's good to bring about the hope for it because look, I'm looking forward. I'm praying for a chance that they will bring Mitsuharu Misawa in there. I'm hoping they will bring Misawa in there. He's the guy who innovated all the underhook tiger driver moves and all the tiger bomb moves and the tiger super. Come on, man, you got to put Misawa in there. He was Tiger Mask when he faced Bret Hart at the WWF International show.
You know who else needs to go in there that I think is long overdue, even more so than the Dragon Fujinami? The Great Muta.
There you go.
The Great Muta, man. His matches with Sting were off the charts back then.
It's something. Yeah, I really would like to see a lot more Japanese wrestlers put in there, and it's just the fact that they contributed. The Japanese contributed so much to the sport. Going back from Ricky Dozan to him bringing the Puroresu style to its forefront, all these different, Antonio Inoki and all these. It was already, they already recognized. Come on, let's bring in some more of the Japanese guys. Let's bring in some more of the innovators. Heck, I'm praying that a couple of years from now they'll actually put Kenta Kobashi in there. I'm hoping they'll do it. It would be a classy thing to do. It'd be a very classy thing to do. But yeah,
I like to put Thunder Liger in there.
There's another one.
Yeah, there's another Thunder Liger.
There's another good name.
This guy that's just come about in WWE called Neville, he reminds me of Jushin Thunder Liger, in every way.
He's good. He does have those moves.
I'm like, man, where is Liger when we need him?
He's still active. Liger shows up at Ring of Honor. It's just
Well, that was the last time I heard about him.
Yeah.
Was when ROH did the thing with New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But on to the next induction, and it's Lenny Profo inducted his brother Randy Macho Man Savage into the Hall of Fame. Another good speech.
It's about freaking time this happened. My God,
there was a lot on this one. There was a lot of build up to this one because there was a hard tug of war for this to even happen, and he was left with a hard decision. My brother wanted the entire family brought in. Yet the fans and pretty much the right of wrestling says that he should be in there anyway.
Surprised that Hogan didn't get booed when he inducted him.
What I was hoping would happen. It would never happen, but it just would have been real funny if, as Hogan walked out, they played that Macho Man rap song, "Be a Man."
That would have been good.
That would have been hilarious.
Here's what I think. I don't know why Hulk Hogan was chosen to do it. I have no idea why they would do that. I wouldn't have booed him for it because him and Macho Man were pretty much tied in together throughout history, but I would have gotten Steamboat, honestly. Yeah. It would have been better
with
Ricky
crowd.
Steamboat. I don't know why he was in the crowd. He should have been on stage for this. This was a Ricky Steamboat moment, not a Hulk Hogan moment. Ricky Steamboat had far better matches. With Macho Man. It was just, he had far better matches with Flair,
Yeah, I was shocked, but I guess, giving Hogan a chance to get on the microphone was probably what outweighed a lot of that.
It was diplomatic. It wasn't diplomatic, it was political.
But I understood it still. But I was just so thrilled that he finally got in there, honestly. I didn't care who inducted him.
I was glad Macho Man is in there. I just, like I said, I do sympathize with the fact that Macho Man would like to have seen his family get in there, which I understand why that is when you're that far in generations of wrestlers and your father was. His father did some amazing things physically. I mean, his father.
What did he do? Like 3,000, 6,000 sit-ups, something like that.
He did some amazing things, and I feel like there was prominence. There couldn't have been any harm. I didn't see the harm in fulfilling that request for Randy Savage. I didn't see the harm in it. I didn't see what the big deal was. Put the damn family in there. Doesn't matter.
Well, I think if you look at it from a fan standpoint, which is what I think Vince was looking at it from, I mean, yeah, the whole family deserves the honor, but I mean, let's be honest. Who is the most famous of them? By a long shot.
It's
Macho Man.
But the fans aren't that bleak. I mean, the fans aren't that bleak. I mean, we'd be more pleased just to hear about
induct the whole family together the year after or something.
Yeah. It would be nice if they just put him in anyway.
Yeah. But I was just glad he finally got in there.
Yeah.
Because he was long overdue. Way more so than anybody.
Yeah.
Mike, you got any thoughts?
It's amazingly long overdue. Just so happy and relieved he's finally in there, you know? And it's just still, no matter what, bittersweet.
Yeah.
Would love to be alive and got to experience it.
Yeah, on that stage, that would have been cool.
Yeah.
Man, that would have been a great fucking speech.
You know who would have had to been up there? They would have. And this could have also been the presenter. Mean Gene, man. Come on.
Mean Gene
was there for all those famous quotes in those promos.
Yeah.
It's like the cream of the crop.
Shout out to Slim Jim. I think I started eating Slim Jims because of that, man.
Yeah, I did too.
I still do. I mean,
That's pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
It's like needles, excitement, snapping up Slim Jim.
I mean, that's a testament to how great he was all across the board, even more so than wrestling. Because I mean, to this day, whenever I ask people who have never watched wrestling before, they know who Macho Man Randy Savage is.
Everybody does.
Yeah, there's only quite a few wrestlers you can ask that with, but they'll answer, you know, like that. You know what I mean?
Every cartoon studio.
He's good at test wrestling, absolutely.
Every cartoon studio in American, mostly American, but even foreign, everybody has called upon him to do voice work. He was on He was in so many cartoons. It was amazing. He was on so many. He was in so much media, man. He was the guy. He was in Spider-Man. I mean, he was our guy, man.
Oh yeah.
In Dexter's Laboratory.
He was. Oh my goodness, he was. He took on Monkey.
Yeah.
He was the hunter, right?
He was that challenger. He was the guy who was the champion of champions who came down.
He was basically a rip-off of Craven the Hunter.
He beat up the whole Justice friends. And he beat up everybody. It was great.
Yeah.
So, if you remember that.
Yeah. So on to the next induction, and it's Triple H inducting the Governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
This was a very political thing. Go for it.
It's one of the few celebrity wings they got right.
I mean, they should have a celebrity ring. And like I said, I didn't have a.
I'm just saying, like, this is one of the few ones they got right. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think there should be a celebrity inductee every single year.
No.
Promote the part a bunch of times.
There shouldn't be.
The only other celebrity I can think of that they could induct, and I would understand it, would be Mickey Rourke for his acting in the movie The Wrestler.
I could accept that. She won't.
She's not in there already.
No, she wouldn't.
No,
I think she refused. Didn't she?
She refused.
She refused.
Yeah, I thought she was, honestly.
No, I think they offered and then she refused. I have to look this up. I think she actually would refuse it, but I may be wrong. But I think she refused. But yeah, I mean, I didn't have a problem. I didn't have a problem with Arnold.
No, Arnold. You know, Triple H said something in his introduction speech that I thought was really true to life, and it's one of the reasons I admire Arnold Schwarzenegger to no end. He represents the American dream.
He does.
And I thought to myself, that is why I understand this guy being inducted into this Hall of Fame. Because if nothing else, even if he did have just one minor appearance on the WWE show, he still embodies a lot of what it means to be successful. And I think that, like Pike said, he was one of the few that they actually got right.
He was a starving bodybuilder.
I mean, but a couple years ago, Donald Trump, are you freaking kidding me? Why did you put him in there? Just because he let you use his place for 2 WrestleManias?
That was a political. That was mostly political.
And that's still
as much as I love this comedian, but Drew Carey should not be in there.
That was another.
No,
thing.
that made no sense.
That made no sense. That was. I think a lot of this was political. I think a lot of it's political. I just hope to God, like, if Chris Jericho thinks he's mad about what fans will react, the one time I think and to some degree I'm gonna say this, I do agree that the Hall of Fame is a very prestigious event. I don't think the fans should do certain cheers at the Hall of Fame. I think it should be respected. However, there is one instance where I would definitely justify everybody shitting on the stage, and that's if they ever brought David Arquette in there.
Oh yeah.
I think that would be the time to throw things.
I don't think David Arquette would even want to do that because David Arquette has mentioned it several times over the years. He thought that was the most pathetic thing they ever did.
I'm glad he
making
thinks
him
so.
world champion.
I have respect for him for thinking so. Because
if you ever get a chance, you should watch the Monday Night War miniseries on the network. Every single episode, they go into way more detail than any of the documentaries we've had thus far. And David Arquette's part in one episode was so accurate because when Dallas Page told him that, hey, they're going to make you the world champion, Arquette was like, what? We can't do that. And then he walked over to Booker T in the locker room and said, Booker, how many times have you won the world title? And at that time, Booker was like, none. And I'm like, you're going to give me the damn world title? Are you kidding me? I mean, the only, you know what?
It was the movie. It was for that movie.
You said earlier that would be the one time they shit on the stage. You know who else deserves that? Vince Russo.
Oh, God. Vince Russo would catch hell. That would be
if he ever got inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, that would literally like destroy the meaning of the Hall of Fame, I think.
People would be very upset.
Did they ever induct Bischoff?
I think
in due time. You know, somebody was asking me that. I think in due time Eric Bischoff could go into the Hall of Fame, and I think honestly he would deserve it because Vince, you remember when he brought him in as the general manager of Raw, Vince said he admired this guy's ballsiness to do some of the things he did during the Monday Night War.
Think about Eric Bischoff. Despite whether you like him or hate him, Eric Bischoff was great.
Oh, yeah.
He was just great. He was great. I mean, the guy was awesome.
The only sole person that nearly put WWE out of business.
He was one of my favorite Raw GMs. He really ran that show really, really great. I thought it was great.
And, you know, I mean, let's face it, he was the marching torch for Ted Turner during the Monday Night War. And,
out of every underhanded, terrible, like, vicious, despicable character in WWE history, the greatest rat of all time was Eric Bischoff. Because nobody was as stealthy as he was. You look at all the villains that have ever been in wrestling history, Eric Bischoff stands out as being the greatest rat of all time. And it's not like I mean, there have been, I'm not saying he's the lowest, but I'm saying he was the greatest rat. I think he was the sneakiest rat there ever was.
And, you know, people can say what they want about, you know, certainly he wasn't single-handedly doing so, but let's be perfectly honest. If it wasn't for Eric Bischoff firing Steve Austin the way he did, that's now infamous, Stone Cold would never have come about.
Yeah.
He would not have pissed him off enough. No, I mean, nobody else could have pissed him off more to make him become that character.
And who could get away? Yeah.
And let's be honest also, if Eric Bischoff had not created the NWO and made Nitro as big as it was, WWE would not have gotten as big as they are now.
The man is a classically trained musician. The man got the French kiss Stephanie McMahon on national television.
So did Chris Jericho.
Yes, he did.
You know.
But hey, that's a small club. That's a very small club.
John Cena got to smack her ass.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle got to kiss her, and John Cena got to smack her ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great. I'll never get tired of watching that.
Just like I'll never get tired of watching Stephanie versus Trish at No Way Out.
Oh my God!
But hell, Hunter had Trish.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
Yeah, Trish put his face, so that made up for all that shit.
Yeah. Hunter got
Sorry, ladies.
Who gets more wrestlers, Stephanie or AJ?
Steph.
Yeah, I think it was.
Because all we know now is
the queen of that title though is definitely Missy Hyatt.
Sorry.
Oh, you talking about one of the most like in terms of sensuous, one of the craziest ones had to be the Dawn Marie Tori Wilson. Come on. That's got to come up. The Dawn Marie Tori Wilson. Whoever's going to forget that?
Tommy Dreamer, I'll take them both. I'm hardcore.
Tommy.
I remember being mad at Tori's dad for cop blocking for a while.
Oh, yeah. That was funny.
Who's next, man?
But on to the last one, and Shawn Michaels.
I like, just right quick, I'm happy Arnold got inducted.
Yeah,
definitely.
Plus, it makes sense. They are promoting the Terminator movie, so.
And he put Triple H in his Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You know, Holyfield was over there like, what is this motherfucker doing here?
It's like, Hogan, I tell you what, if they ever induct Sly, you can do that speech.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that would be the one. That would be the one.
Incredible celebrity winning Hall of Fame right there, Stallone, right?
I'd take Stallone. I would give Stallone a pass.
But he only did one thing.
It's okay. I would give him a pass.
This is a very important scene, though.
Yeah, it's like very important.
It's like arguably the best thing about Rocky 3. I mean,
it was awesome.
That and Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah.
Yeah, they gotta go get fired.
Okay.
But, on to the next.
I agree with what he said earlier too. Mickey Rourke should be in there.
On to the next one. The Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, inducting Kevin Nash into the Hall of Fame. Pretty good speech, but I gotta say, I would put Macho Man last.
I think
Kevin Nash,
if Macho Man had been there to do his own speech, I'm sure that would have happened.
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest reason.
They didn't want to end it on a sad note, I think.
They didn't want to make it depressing.
Yeah.
How would it end depressing?
The man's dead,
somber,
It'd be like if they had ended it with the Warrior Reward one. It would have left everybody in tears.
Yeah, as soon as Kevin Nash popped, my wife was hilarious. As soon as Kevin Nash popped up, you know what she said? She goes, "Ain't that the dude from Magic Mike?" She said, "Ain't that the horrible dancer from Magic Mike?"
He was also the guard on Estrogen in Longest Yard.
And,
he was.
That
was really weird.
I said, "Oh my God, he sucked in that movie."
I was real happy that Diesel got in.
I think that was his job.
That's also the dude from the Punisher movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
you should tell me what. Yeah, I think that was his job.
Yeah. I love Scott. Take it. You want to say something? About
Well, I was just gonna say, all kidding aside, I think Kevin Nash totally deserved to be in there. There were some people on Twitter that night who were saying, "Oh, he just got in because Razor Ramon was in first or whatever."
No, he was WWE champion. Granted, he might not have been a popular WWE champion, but
Kevin Nash, to me, honestly,
he helped form one of the best factions in the world. In wrestling.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Until they fucked it up and added too many people.
Didn't he beat Bob Backlund like 8 seconds?
Yeah, I mean that was like Warrior beating Honky Tonk Man in 18 seconds.
Yeah, so cool.
And plus, he was a Triple Crown champion.
I used to own the Diesel gloves.
Yeah.
I used to have those gloves.
Cool as hell, though.
Something else I want to say about Diesel.
He was.
I remember when I was only 8 years old and we went to WrestleMania 12 in Anaheim. We were there, obviously, to see the Iron Man match, which remains the best part of the night.
God, that was
but
beautiful.
The thing is, I remember being in the crowd watching Diesel and Undertaker. That match was so well done. I mean,
good.
Usually, like Diesel said in a couple times when they interviewed him on documentaries, when you have two real big guys in the ring, it usually looks like army tanks just going back and forth. But if you watch that match, Diesel and Taker had a good wrestling match.
It had form. They really worked. It was one of those times where you really got to see two big guys work back in those days, and that was rare.
And I don't know if Taker carried Diesel or Diesel carried Taker, but either way, they matched up real well. And I think that was one of Kevin Nash's biggest matches of his career because that was a match you can look at and say, okay, this guy does know how to wrestle. He's not just a cool attitude guy on the mic.
No, but he doesn't work like later in years. He worked a lot less. But I think because Undertaker was in there, it was kind of Mark was in there. Mark probably forced him to work. Mark was like,
oh yeah, Undertaker don't put up.
It's like,
nothing,
look, we're gonna work. We're gonna get in here. We're gonna freaking work.
One of my favorite moments. It's totally off topic a bit, but one of my favorite moments with Kevin Nash was an episode of Monday Nitro where they were down in Panama City at Club La Vila. If you watch this video on YouTube, you can tell because at the time we were too young. He and Scott Hall showed up to Nitro drunk off their asses. They'd been driving from Pensacola all day, and they were drunk as hell when they went in the ring. They had hula shirts and flip-flops on, and they were on the mic, and Kevin was like, "Hey, Giant, you want to come out here, man? I'll give you a beating." You know, he just sprints around, but you can tell he's drunk. Giant walks out there, and you can tell he's lost. You don't know what the hell they're doing because it was spur of the moment.
What was this? This was at
it was on Nitro in Panama City.
The spring break.
Yeah.
On Nitro.
Oh, the pool around.
Kevin Nash gets out of the ring. None of this was scripted. None of this was scripted as part, so it just happened randomly because they were drunk. Nash gets out there and he's like, "You know, Giant, it's a good thing for you that I'm the Cannonball champion of Spring Break." And then he throws the mic down and does a cannonball. Right
I think I've actually seen this before. This is good.
When you watch this video, it's like, man, them guys really were just having fun.
For those people listening, we're all going to be looking this up like later. We got to rewatch this, but anyway.
And then he picked up Scott Hall, who was drunk even more so, and just tossed him into the pool.
I'm not surprised. That's how they rolled, man. That's how they freaking rolled. Let's get to the next one.
All right. So with Hall of Fame done, we get now to WrestleMania, and first we're gonna do some of the pre-show matches.
Okay.
Because most of the good ones were on the pre-show. Fair fought away for the WWE Tag Titles, the Usos, Los Matadores, the New Day, or should I say Green Day?
Agreed.
And Cesaro and Tyson Kidd. Pretty good match.
Explosive match.
I was just more infatuated with Natalia than anything else, but
of course you were.
But pretty decent match. Glad to see Cesaro got some shine on here. What do you guys think about the New Day? Are they ever gonna get over this? Because
now they're chanting New Day sucks.
They really need to be heels.
They need to be
heels. Well,
they're
trying with this whole.
This is the perfect moment to turn around.
They got the heat. They need to carry it. They need to be able to harness that heat.
Like let's face it, whenever you're positive, you're gonna get the boot hell out of you. And I don't mind New Day. It's I just can't take them serious.
I mean, it was pretty much a clusterfuck. Natalia put the El Toro in a sharpshooter. That looked weird. Then in the end, Cesaro and Kidd retained.
Yeah.
And, no rest for the weary. They were back out for the Andre the Giant Battle Royal that was on the pre-show.
Yeah, I wondered what that was about.
I think we can pretty much say it's pretty much going to be done. Actually, they ain't going to do it. Before we get into that, they did have a segment on there with Lita talking about, a lot of things that, the fans, wrote in. And she was talking about Team Bestie, her and Lita going up against the Bella Twins. I really don't want to see that.
You seriously had to take time to talk about that?
Huh?
You seriously had to take time to talk about that?
Well, it's Lita, so...
I'm just, if I could have fast forwarded... No, I'm kidding. I think they would totally destroy the Bellas like that.
Nah, if it was AJ and Paige, I'll see that.
Mm-hmm.
Or, better yet, Paige and maybe Sasha Banks.
I could buy that.
Or Charlotte.
Yeah.
Or Bayley.
The whole damn crew.
Yeah. But,
that would work, yeah.
Let's get to the Battle Royal.
Hideo had to be on cloud 9 doing that.
I know, but I just hated the way he was eliminated.
He was not who I expected.
What I was going to say is that NXT had a tournament to see who would be in there, and Kenta won. Let's go on ahead.
I seriously thought Balor was going to win that thing.
Yeah, but as I said, he only had like a few minutes before. But I would say this: it did kind of
longer than I thought he would.
It did kind of make me think that between his interaction between him and Tyson Kidd, that would be a great feud that WWE did it, right?
Yeah, that will work. That would be cool.
I agree.
That'd be really cool.
That'd be something I would want to see. But unfortunately, Show put him out. Nothing really that significant about the Battle of the Royal to mention except for the Final Four, where I think it was Ryback and it was Ryback. Then Ryback got eliminated, and it was down to Cesaro, Mizdow, Miz, and Show. And they finally did it. They finally broke up Mizdow and Miz, with Mizdow throwing Miz over the top rope.
Yep.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
I was glad to see that finally happen.
Yeah. It's over.
I love them together, man. They were great.
That I will say, that Niagara commercial that segment they did a few weeks back, that was fun.
That was funny.
This is how you make a team work.
And
I picked Mizdow.
I think we all picked Mizdow.
Give it to him. Give it to Mizdow.
Well, they had a pretty good few seconds with Mizdow even biting Show on the outside.
Yeah, he had to.
But Show won, and at the end he posed with the trophy. So
I mean, I understand why they wanted him to get it. Yeah.
Yeah, still.
I understand why they did it. It's just the fact that I feel that opportunity was needed by a lot of other people.
Well, it was like we were asking earlier. It was on the pre-show. So what did it mean?
Yeah.
For Big Show or anyone else, really? I mean, half the people watching WrestleMania didn't even see it.
Well, we'll talk about it later why it probably was on the pre-show with a certain segment.
Yeah.
But let's get to the opening match, and it was the ladder match for the WWE Intercontinental title. R-Truth, Luke Harper, Dean Ambrose, Stardust, who had a very cool Sinister costume.
I loved it.
Dolph Ziggler, Daniel Bryan, and Bad News Barrett. Would you say number 2 match of the night?
It's hard for me to rank them really, but I gotta say, the thing that really stood out to me about that ladder match was the fact that they were starting off with a huge match. It reminded me of WrestleMania 10 when Bret Hart and Owen Hart opened the show.
Yeah.
I mean, that could have very easily been rendered as a main event match, but instead they put it at the beginning, and I think that was a wise thing to do because creatively it got the crowd right in. You didn't have to have these little early matches that don't mean so much and then build up slowly as you go. They just kept throwing big ones at you all throughout the show. And I liked that they started off with a ladder match. It surprised me, but for better.
Yeah.
And it certainly was a great match, yeah.
Great match. We gotta say the biggest spot was when Ambrose got powerbombed on the ladder.
Oh,
it seemed like he really got fucked up.
That looked bad. When I was watching it, I was like, man, I know whether they intended that or not. That had to hurt like hell.
Yeah.
He went to the locker room screaming about that one.
And then the one spot with the Stardust bringing out his own ladder.
Yeah, I love that ladder.
And then Barrett broke one pieces off the ladder. And I was like, he's not gonna try to hit that guy with it. He sure done hit him and Brian with it.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's gonna get one of them cut or something.
It was like a sequin or what it was like a sequin ladder. It had been what do they call it?
Dusted.
Dusted. Yeah, it had been sparkled.
Rhinestones and dust.
Yeah,
that was awesome. I love that ladder.
And also, like to end it with both Brian and Dolph
The
getting on
headbutt
top
exchange.
of
That was awesome.
That was a little bit overboard.
They got a little carried away with it, but it still kept me like on my edge, like, oh my god, which guy's gonna get it?
It was very
early
early '80s style. Like that headbutting, all that headbutting. It's like that's like what they used to do in '82. They were just like,
The way that Daniel Bryan's been kind of repositioned here lately in a secondary star role, I kind of knew he was probably going to win the match, but at the same time, I liked that they still made you think maybe not.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when you think you can predict the outcome, it's good to be
a lot of
thrown
people like both Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are kind of happy about that.
I think if nothing else, this will totally, like, if WWE Creative does this and does it right, it could really be the starting point for a feud between the two of them.
And with R-Truth's rumored retirement, a lot of us thought he might get it. So
but he really didn't do much in the match.
He didn't do much.
No,
he
really
didn't
did not
do a lot. He just played a supporting role.
Pike, you got any few words about it?
That Bryan Ziggler feud's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, but Daniel Bryan won the match, so your new Intercontinental Champion is Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Next match, Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton. Another great match. I'd say one of the top 3 matches of the night.
The RKO from out of nowhere.
That was fucking sweet.
I remember watching that, and when he did that, there were several other people in the room who had blinked or turned their head to do something, and they were like, wait a minute, what just happened? And I was sitting there rewinding it like you can do on the network, and I was like, holy crap, like literally if you miss or blink, you're going to miss that.
Yeah, it just happened like that. Bam.
Yeah.
And nobody in the crowd saw it coming because as soon as he landed it, the whole crowd just erupted like, yeah.
Yeah, because if he had fucked up, if he had got up at the wrong time, he could have fucked up wrong.
That was a split second that had to be accurate.
They probably went over that several times. They had to do drills on him.
And to see him, because if you have seen it, he stepped on Randy's shoulder to get up in the air or to get caught like that. I mean, that wasn't really hurt Randy to do that.
He was gonna give Randy it was supposed to be like he was gonna give him a super stomp. He was getting way up there. It's like something that would happen in Dragon Ball Z, where they go way up the blast, and then he goes way up there, and Randy's up there, and it's like they come tumbling down like 8 feet. It was about an 8-foot fall.
Yeah,
it was about an 8-foot drop.
But yeah, like when I saw the ladder match open the show on a good note, that was good. But then when that match happened, it was like, God, they're building even more momentum here as we go.
Yeah.
Okay. But pretty good match. Great RKO right up there with
crazy.
Randy doing the RKO from the top rope.
Mm-hmm.
And moving on to the next segment, they showed Ronda Rousey at ringside in a Vegeta shirt,
which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. And then we get a video package. We have Sting versus Triple H up next. Sting coming out with Japanese. Was it Japanese or Chinese?
I think it was Japanese. I'm not going to swear to that.
Because the city they were in is a large international thing. It was
Asian dramas.
It was a smart move, but it
made no sense.
Yeah.
And Sting coming out of his red coat. I like how this one guy was saying that it looked like Alphonse, not Alphonse, but Eric. Jeez, I can't remember, and I love this anime. Eric Elric.
Oh yeah, you talking about Edward Elric, Edward Elric, yeah, you talking about that he did kind of have that look coming out. It was a very, like I said, it was a very kind of Neo Japan kind of entrance.
Yeah, but he did get a huge ovation.
Oh, they went nuts.
I didn't notice this until somebody brought it up that they didn't introduce Sting. Then I see it, didn't even say his name.
No, there was no.
To me, he doesn't need one.
She was probably stunned.
Everybody in the audience, I think, knew who it was, so they didn't need to be told that.
This was like, we'll get to match at the intros. But man, this intro was. She was shocked. I think she was just shocked. I think everybody was in shock. Sting on WrestleMania.
I mean, about to say, nobody thought it would ever happen, and then as it's happening, you're a part of history.
thing, it's just stunned. You're just stunned,
Oh, my bad.
It's Sting coming out, It's Sting, and he's coming out, and it's just wow, the guy who held out, he's actually walking down the ramp at Mania, and he's gonna stand in the ring and wrestle Triple H.
Yeah.
And we're here to see it.
I was saying earlier about the ladder match being the opener. I did not expect this one to come as early as it did in the card. But I liked that. It kept the momentum going at full speed. So after the match was over, I was like, man, they keep getting better and better as we go here, but I love how they're putting marquee matches everywhere. Because you'll exhaust the audience if you put them all at the very end.
Definitely.
So we had Triple H's opener, and it was Terminator themed. Had Arnold showed up to do the introductions, and Hunter coming out in a kind of his Shao Kahn variation of a Terminator suit.
Yeah.
Which I think they kind of fucked up. They botched somehow.
I don't know. I mean, it looked cool or whatever, but I don't know. It just seemed to me like is it Triple H or Arnold Schwarzenegger going to wrestle this match?
It was cool, but
it was great. But it just
they could have done a little better with the design. I didn't think it was all that good. It was great, but yeah.
I'm about to say the WrestleMania 29 was the biggest botch of Triple H's entrances ever because he came out through that little gate thing to wrestle Brock Lesnar at 29, and the fire extinguisher had gotten on his stomach or whatever, so he comes out with a white stomach. I was laughing about that when I saw it.
Yeah, somebody lost their job for that.
So, Triple H, the entrance may have been a bit over, but I appreciated it.
I liked it, but I liked the gold one better. I was more fan of the gold, and it just. But I did.
Once with when Motorhead was playing.
Yeah, this one.
And he came from the bottom.
Yeah, and here's my thing. How about we go around? I'm going to do a quick round table and see take a guess how much this entrance cost.
Oh,
how much? What do you think was the price tag or something like that? Those models coming up, like
the stuff that Triple H had on his shoulders and his head probably alone was running $30,000.
Well, you had to realize that NBC is affiliated with WWE, so most of that stuff probably came from Universal. So it probably didn't cost them that much.
There may have been a rental, or may have been a company rental.
Yeah,
could have been that. That's a good notion.
The one thing I will say though, after the entrances were over, I said, okay, you gave me a dynamite entrance. Now, is the match going to deliver, or is the entrance to cover the lesser of that?
No,
they delivered.
They delivered.
The match delivered.
Yeah.
That match was crazy.
There was one botch on Sting where he put him in the Scorpion Deathlock, and it's Chase of TNA, he still couldn't hold on to him. I think he was too tired by that time.
Yeah, Sting really. I appreciated when Sting got the first few blows in, and the crowd started chanting, "You've still got it."
That was great.
That was really too early.
It's always great when the crowd does that.
Yeah, I appreciate the fact that when the crowd does that, because Sting still can go at the age he is, but I don't. The thing that kind of bothered me though, and you guys, please don't crucify me for saying this, because it was a big moment when NWO and DX ended up out there.
Talk about that.
Yeah, but the problem is, I wanted it to be a standard one-on-one match. I would have liked it to stay that way.
The thing about that was Hunter was hurt, and I think they said that he wasn't confident that he could go a whole match, so that's why they had all the run-ins.
Really? Okay. See, I didn't know that. That makes sense though.
And if you saw, I forgot where they said it was, this big bruise he had. Oh, so that's probably why they did all the run-ins like he did. Yeah. But, he said that, first DX interfered, and crazy thing, Sting took him out by jumping off the top of the turnbuckle.
Which was great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's one of Sting's signature moves from back in the day.
Kind of scary. And
it's WrestleMania. It's WrestleMania.
Then I think he got pedigreed. He kicked out. Yeah. And NWO came with Hall, Nash, and Hogan. Hogan and them taking out DX. Hogan giving the cross chop.
I was worried they weren't going to help Sting, though, because, that was one of Sting's biggest rivals back in WCW,
that's what I was
so I wasn't sure.
Well, he was in the Wolfpack, but I don't think they'll bring Conan, to the event.
No.
And Randy's deceased.
Yeah.
But, they could have had Hall and Nash in the red and black, but, the black and white is mostly known better, so
Yeah.
I guess that's why they did it. But, Sting put him in Scorpion Deathlock. Then DX got the second win. I think it was
Shawn Michaels stepped in and gave him Sweet Chin Music.
Not yet.
Oof. I haven't watched it in about a week.
It was X-Pac took out Hogan.
Yeah,
took out
yeah.
X-Pac. Then I think it was Badass took out Dash and Dash broke his ankle.
Yeah, it was one thing after another.
And,
I'm like, why don't you
Hall,
all just get in there?
Scott Hall, I looked like he was going to do it, raise his edge, and then shockingly, Road Dogg picked him up and he did a flip. And I'm like, did he have hip surgery?
Yeah.
So we were like, we thought he wasn't going to do any bumps, but he did one.
It's Mania.
And, but he just had hip surgery.
It's WrestleMania. Anything goes at WrestleMania.
That's the thing. They're willing to do it for the fans.
It already been a crazy Mania up to that point anyway, isn't
So
it?
then Sting having to score with Death Drop was going to put him in again, and then Michaels came in with Sweet Chin Music, and DX Chop. He got booed from the crowd, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Even though, HBK doing that whole Christian thing.
Shawn Michaels just has great timing. He just nailed that right out. He's right there on time every time, like, bam!
I remember when he jumped in and did the Sweet Chin Music, it was out of nowhere. Like, you didn't see it coming, and I'm like, oh, wait, yeah, it's Mr. WrestleMania. Of course he had to show up.
He just, bam! Right. He never misses his cue. He's just right there, bam!
And it literally just came from nowhere. I was like, where the hell did that bastard come from?
Yeah,
it's like, wow, what a quick move that was.
So, Hunter pinned him, and he still kicked out.
That was awful.
Then Michaels got the sledgehammer. Scott gave Sting the bat. Sting hit Hunter with the bat, and then he broke the sledgehammer in pieces. Then Sting did the Stinger Splash, and then Hunter grabbed the head of the sledgehammer, and Sting went for another one. He got hit with the head, and Triple H pinned him and got the win. Now, a lot of people were pissed that Sting took the job to Triple H, but if you want to blame somebody, I would blame Vince, because Vince probably was the one that said he wasn't going to go over.
Vince.
And I think Sting is one of those people that really doesn't care as long as it's decent and, not as trashy as, some storylines can be.
Yeah.
As long as it's tasteful and respectful, and I guess that's why Hunter.
I appreciated the nostalgia.
And I guess that's why Hunter did the handshake at the end.
When they shook hands at the end of that match, that made me forgive all the other things that happened in the match that I didn't care for at first. But really, in a lot of ways, somebody on Twitter, who's a good friend of mine, couldn't have summed it up better. When that handshake went down, that was literally the final page of the Monday Night War. It was over.
That was really well done. Here's the thing. They didn't have to do much with this. The interference and everything. They managed to still pull off a great match at that great performance. And I think you look at it justifiably in the story. I would have loved to see Sting go over. It would have been better. But I understand Vince. You got Vince sitting in the back and just But at the same time, you have to think. Look at the kind of when you look at both their storylines through the years. Look at what Triple H has done. Look at what Sting has done. They've both been dynamic, but Triple H would win a battle. Would win a battle of this kind because he's more used to being the kind of guy in an all out fight who has that one knife in the back. Look at all his battles he's been through. He's faced faces that were just guaranteed to beat him, and he's found some kind of way, as a heel, he's found some kind of way to just pull out the last dagger and get that last stab in.
Yeah.
The mark of a true villain. I mean, he's had outside interference. Triple H specializes in these kinds of low ball matches.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, justifies his win as being credible, although they still made Sting look amazingly strong. He survived the pedigree, he survived the super. He's been through enough to where he can get up from that kind of stuff. But when it comes down to that last break, when the final winds come in, and Sting's about to do a clean, Sting is a face, so he's gonna go for the finish. But Triple H is still pulling out daggers. Even after all the guns have been fired, Triple H is still pulling out swords.
Yeah. I was just glad, if Triple H was going to win the match, I'm just glad they didn't bury Sting.
No, they did a
certainly
fantastic.
Did not do that.
This match was crazy. It delivered on all fronts. You got everything you wanted in this match. It would have been nice to see even the Authority get involved. I would like to see this thing turn into like a skirmish in like it did. It would have been beautiful, but still, the match gave you everything you wanted. It was fantastic. It was good. It was definitely a treat and totally unpredictable. I mean,
that was the best thing.
I had no idea what was going to happen.
I really did not know who was going to win that match.
For once, I really didn't know. For once, and by the end of this discussion, twice, I really didn't know what was going to happen. I had no clue what was going to happen.
Yeah, and I love matches where you literally cannot say who might win.
Sting jumping off the top rope. Who saw that coming? I mean, come on.
But it was a pretty good match. So we go on to the next thing. Maria Menounos segment with Daniel Bryan, which has Hall of Famers like Pat Patterson, awesome. Roddy Piper, Ricky Steamboat, Flair, and Bret Hart doing the yes, with Ron Simmons coming in saying damn.
That was awesome. That was great. That's another one that's crazy. That's another one that made this WrestleMania so damn crazy. All these people kept coming in. You're like, who else is coming? They just really kept piling it on. It was like, oh my god.
Next match, Paige and AJ versus the Bella Twins.
I'm coming around on the Divas. I'm not ashamed to say this. I'm a huge fan of the Total Divas show on WWE Network.
The only thing I ask is
watch it too.
The only thing
that makes me watch it.
Yeah, I'm waiting for season 3 to come on the network so I can see Paige.
Here comes Paige. There I am watching it.
He loves Paige too, Pike. He loves Paige too.
I was there at Raw the night she debuted and won the women's title, and I mean, not to sound like a fucking Hallmark card here, but I fell in love in 2 seconds when she walked out.
You understand? I was telling these two guys about that girl even before that debut.
I wasn't familiar with NXT at that time, but man, when she came out, and it's not just then. I mean, every match that she's had in her 1 year in the company. I mean, she's not out there to get on the mic and talk trash like a lot of the women characters are. I mean, she's there to wrestle.
She does,
and she does a good job of it.
She's really good.
Yeah. Well,
but I liked the match that they had.
The match was good. I'm glad it didn't suck.
Decent, but
I loved at the end when Paige.
Not Paige, but AJ getting knocked out and she just dead on the.
How many times was that? Like
she plays dead really well.
Yeah, she does.
Might be something too. We'll talk about it.
But when Paige threw, I think it was Brie Bella against the stairs like that. I mean, you don't see divas getting thrown into stairs that often. So when she did that, I was like, "Yeah, you badass, baby." But I like that. I thought it was pretty cool.
Still cringes whenever Brie still does that Brimo scream.
I don't know why that. Like, what is that?
If you watch Total Divas, you'll understand what Brie mode is.
We said before.
Oh.
Basically, one of the episodes she was totally shit-faced drunk, and that's pretty much Brimo when she gets.
Whenever one of the other characters on the show does something stupid or whatever, they're like, "Yeah, you're gonna go into Brie mode if you keep this up."
I mean, even with the Brimo, no one was a greater drunk than Hattie.
Yeah, I agree.
She almost got fired. She almost got fired.
That's why you don't let friends drink and dial.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
Trust me, just watch the show. You'll understand. And the good thing about Total Divas, you don't have to really see it from the beginning. You can watch any episode.
Not really.
Oh.
It's pure reality set up.
Oh. Okay,
Basically, it's 90% bullshit. But AJ Lee and Paige went with AJ putting, I think it was Nikki and Black Widow.
Yeah, the match wasn't too long. There were no botches. They got the job done. They didn't screw up the card. They did their
All
jobs.
you have to do is give Divas a chance.
They did.
Yeah, that was my only tweet for the match.
Yeah.
Well, that's all you had to do, and look, they delivered. So, you know.
They delivered. I'm just glad. Really, the credit goes to Bellas for actually not screwing up the match. They actually got through this without. They actually got through this match without screwing up.
Cena and Daniel Bryan had a little chat with them beforehand.
They had to. It's Mania. They're probably like, look.
Let's talk for a minute, okay?
This is WrestleMania. Get your shit together. Like really, get your shit together.
Seriously.
So
I love you.
Yeah.
next segment was they brought everybody from the Hall of Fame ceremony. They introduced them to the crowd. Then we get to the U.S. title match between John Cena and Rusev.
Okay.
Holy shit, they went.
They went way like 1980.
It reminded me of Rocky IV, man.
It's like Vince wanted to relive 1942. Like, let's go, baby.
They had Lana in the white dress with a crown on and the U.S. title on her shoulder.
It was Rocky IV.
Yeah. Living in America by James Brown so bad.
Yeah, why somebody do that? They could have brought back the cat. They could have brought that cat, man. They couldn't do this joke.
Well, James Brown was dead.
Yeah, I know.
And just like Dolph Lundgren would have looked so confused, like, huh?
The crazy thing to me is when John Cena came out.
Well, wait. We haven't talked about the other thing yet.
Oh, okay.
Rusev came out in a motherfucking tank.
It was awesome.
And am I the only one that was thinking of No Limit Soldiers when he was?
Yes.
I was thinking of Yankees.
Yeah, that was them.
But so he came out in a tank. He had guns. Pretty awesome entrance. Then John Cena came out with a sorry promo with all the presidents, including Obama.
Captain
and
America.
He goes out and just gets fucking booed, and people singing the Cena.
Like watching History Channel, man.
I kind of feel sorry for Cena. That was.
I'm starting to feel the same way because he's an all-American good guy, but people aren't buying it anymore, and they're just going like John Cena.
He was in an interview once. He was in an interview recently. He was saying that. He was saying that he really would like to go heel, but he was saying that the only reason they
they did have a story where he had stuff ready. They were going to do it, but they changed their mind. But the good thing about it was the stuff that he got designed because he was ready to go heel because he got new ring stuff.
Yeah.
And I think he turned around and he gave it to, was it Neville or Chris Hero?
I don't remember. He gave it
I don't remember.
I think it was Hero or Neville. He gave it to, because I think it was Chris Hero that was the one that was telling the story about it, that he gave it to somebody. He says they killed it. He gave the wrestling gear to one of the stars in NXT. He was him or Neville's. So that was pretty cool. But, say what you will about John Cena. The guy, I wish I had his bad luck. I mean, you got a good house, hot woman, and a bunch of hot cars. He must be doing.
That the kids paid for.
So he must be doing something, right?
I've like I said, like I always tell on these shows, I've never.
That was one of the main episodes of Total Divas I hated is when we saw his house.
Yeah, I agree.
Wow.
That's just like, man, I want to burn that fucker down.
The only time I didn't mind his house was when he went away for a week or whatever, and then Nikki brought all her girlfriends over.
He tore that motherfucker up.
I've never hated John Cena. I just, like I said, for a good time, when they're bringing in like some of the ROH stars and they're trying to bring them up, and with all this new talent they brought in, I was just ready for them to kind of start bringing them down. John had a good run.
They did when you beat Wyatt last year.
But see, that's more to the writing team. See, that's more the writing team. I wouldn't have had him beat Wyatt at WrestleMania last year. It really hurt Bray Wyatt. It really hurt Bray Wyatt. And here's the thing about that. John's a good sport. I think John can work. I don't think I really would never say. I agree with CM Punk when I say he's far from being the best. He's not the best worker, but he can work. And I think he's good for the kids. I think he's good to keep on the card. I don't think they should ever take him off the card, but I think they need to regulate where he is on the card at certain times when they're bringing in new talent, because he can work the new talent, but I wouldn't have him. I wouldn't have him shadowing. But the two people they need to fire, of course, is they need to just get Show off the card. I would love to see Show off the card completely, but
One thing that they and Pike could back me up here from Total Divas. One of the things that I like about John Cena, or respect about him, is he's purely about business. He'll work with anybody.
He will.
Anything that he needs to do to help the company, he'll do it, even if it means he's in the opening match. And it goes to show you, like Pike was mentioning last year, WrestleMania, when he worked with Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no marketability whatsoever hardly to that match, but Cena knew, for business sake, it was important to get Bray Wyatt over a little bit more than he already was, and he did a good job of it. So I respect Cena a great deal for being a company guy, because most guys who have had as many titles as him, their ego does everything for them.
Yeah. John Cena got my respect when the one time John Cena did get my respect is when he showed up at the ECW One Night Stand, walked out there to face Rob Van Dam, which that's walking through that curtain. The very fact that he walked through that curtain earned my respect, because he knew what was waiting for him on the other side of that curtain, and he took that whole night like a class act, complete class act.
Mm-hmm.
He took that like a man, and I really appreciated that about John Cena.
Yeah.
Well, getting to the match, pretty decent match. The only complaint I would say is I would think that Rusev would need more than just one attitude adjustment.
Thank you. Finally.
Instead of just one. The match ended with Lana getting on top of the rope. Before we get into that, what was the deal with her shoe?
I'm not sure.
No, she got that from what's his name from SmackDown. When
Abraham Washington.
No. The guy tag team match specialist. We're gonna throw a tag match.
Teddy Long.
That was a Teddy Long move. Throwing your shoe in the ring is a Teddy Long move. He did it. He did it. He does it all the time. He would throw his shoe in the ring to distract the ref or knock somebody off of him. I've seen him do it.
You remember that one episode? A little bit.
Yeah.
I think it was the same time he got fired with Abraham Washington threw his shoe at Kobe.
Yeah. He will throw.
He screamed at your mama.
Yeah, throwing your shoe is like one of the traditions that you just do. I mean, that's a Teddy Long move.
Yeah, heel man should always do that,
Yeah. I agree though. That ending was the match at Fastlane was way better.
Yeah, she was on top of the ring, just trying to John moved and got bonked off by Rusev, and then Rusev got put into the attitude adjustment, and 1, 2, 3, John Cena's the new U.S. champ. And afterwards, you can see Rusev yelling at Lana, and Lana get held back to the back, which signifies that maybe they're breaking up, which would be a bad idea.
I liked the match. It was a well done match, and not to sound like a wise ass, but I knew John Cena was going to win the match.
We all knew that.
It was the one problem I had with that whole event. Really, was one match you just could not make it unpredictable, no matter what you did.
But here's the thing about that: they if you watch the one at Fastlane, the ending of this one didn't make any sense. Like, okay, after the ending they had planned, like where Lana gets knocked off the thing and whatnot. It shouldn't have ended there. He should have got him in the attitude adjustment. It should have went at least another 2 false finishes before they got to that finish. Then the match would have been at least a 4.5 on the Dave Meltzer scale.
Yeah.
It would have maybe even been a 5 if they had gone the way they did in the Fastlane match. That's where they kind of dropped the ball now. When they had a chance to take that match. The match was decent going through. They had a chance to take that match to greater heights. Because the match wasn't ready to end there, it should have went longer. They should have really took that match 2 more volleys, like two more close calls, and then they could have let Cena win.
Yeah.
It should have gone longer.
Okay. Got anything else to add, Pike?
I mentioned the James Brown thing, so that was my take.
Good mention.
All right.
No, it was a good match and very predictable. And like I said, I see that dude going a little bit longer.
Yeah.
That was one of the very few views for me. Very few that definitely keep going.
Yeah.
So
they work well together. Those two work well together.
So on to the next segment. Hunter and Stephanie come out, and Hunter living up to the crowd with win over Sting, saying that he owns everybody.
This moment.
Then The Rock showed up, and Rock busted in, but then Stephanie got in his face saying that the McMahons, that the Thea family should thank the McMahons for all they, done for them, and she slapped The Rock, which had The Rock got the ring and went over to Ronda Rousey and her come up with a barricade and had to stare down with Hunter and Stephanie. Stephanie getting into Ronda's face, which we all know is a really
and everybody was
bad
like,
idea.
no, everybody was like, no, Steph, run, Steph, run, Steph. Everybody was like,
and Stephanie trying to be all pretend like friends because of the whole SummerSlam incident with Ronda and the Four Horsewomen. And then Hunter attacking Triple H, putting the smackdown on him. Then Ronda doing the was it hip toss?
She hip tossed Triple H. She did it's like a judo move. She did some kind of judo arm.
Basically
drag.
the same thing
It's like
she did
an
to
arm
that
drag.
guy that was talking shit and she broke his ribs, but much lighter.
Yeah.
And then she put Stephanie on lock.
Yeah, like an wrist lock.
And then Stephanie got in the ring and pretty much had both Rock and Ronda in the ring. And that's probably why the Andre the Giant Battle Royal was in the pre-show.
Yeah. I would have rather seen that, but I will say one thing about that segment. I know for a fact I'm going to Wrestlemania in Dallas next year because it's the largest venue in the world, and they're going to break records with that one. I hope they expand a little on that segment and have one more round, Triple H and The Rock. If they do it right, I will be excited. But the thing is,
my take.
Yeah, go ahead.
I honestly do not want to see Hunter versus Rock again. It's been done so many times in the Attitude Era. We've seen it already.
Yeah.
Like I said before, what I really want to see is Rock versus HBK. I'm pretty sure HBK can do one more match.
Well, the problem is, hasn't HBK already said numerous times he is not coming back?
Well, he's come back before. He's coming back.
But I mean,
not for a real match though. He seems adamant
Like
about
one of
it.
the few guys that says when he's retired.
Yeah, he's serious. But I mean,
happening.
but I don't know.
I mean, they hinted at it so much during the Attitude Era, but it never happened. And plus, I know they said they had a feud between him and Rocky, but they said that they squashed it. I mean, it's the perfect time. I would rather watch that than Hunter versus Rock again. And then there was notion that they were going to do a tag match with Ronda,
That wouldn't
Rock,
work.
No.
Stephanie, and Triple H. And I had said on the forum,
You cannot for 1 second convince me that Stephanie
that's what I
McMahon will
was
ever
saying.
hit
I'm like,
Ronda
there's
Rousey.
no way the hell you going to tell me that Ronda and Stephanie's going to sail.
Anybody who has seen Ronda Rousey in the octagon will know that is bullshit.
I would
that would never work.
rather have Lita or Trish against Ronda than Stephanie.
And even then, it'd
I
be a
still wouldn't
stretch.
believe it.
You could not convince me for 1
There's
second
so
that anybody
many.
will hurt
There's so
Ronda
many.
Rousey.
There's so many holes and throws she could apply
I don't even
that
know if there's either
would
women
keep-
in wrestling that you can convince me that would be.
No.
could take on Ronda Rousey.
Even
If you've seen Ronda Rousey in the octagon, you know there's nobody that can touch her.
Chira Hoto.
I mean, when I watch Furious 7 and she gets into the fight with Michelle Rodriguez, it's like, yeah, this is totally fake because there's no way Michelle Rodriguez could fight her.
No, that's
But
choreography.
she would have finished that in like 10 seconds. I mean,
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey's a beast. Like,
well, for movie purposes, it had to be a little longer.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I appreciated the choreography of it. It just, in the wrestling ring, though, nobody would be able to convince me of it.
Yeah. But if we had to watch Rock versus Triple H, I guess it's okay, but still holding on hope for.
My biggest curiosity going into next year is if they decide to bring Triple H and The Rock together one more time. I would love to see. Okay, they've fit the Attitude Era perfectly all those times, but can they still have a match for this new era? Because The Rock's been around more so, and so is Triple H. But the way when you bring them together, it gets pretty extreme.
WWE so was wrong to be in a match. But I don't think Dana's going to go for it. I guess Dana let them, he told them that she could get in the ring and do the thing, but as far as a match, I doubt he'll do that.
No, he would never approve it. But here's the thing, like, you put Triple H and The Rock in there now, like, the only way it's going to work is if Triple H is, like, at 100%, because Rock's going to get in there, and Rock wrestles his best with speed.
Oh, yeah.
The pace has to be... To get a good Rock match, you need somebody in there who keep up with his pace. Like, it's got to be going. They got to be on it. Like, because Rock, when he goes on that heat, when they start running ropes and stuff, you got to be moving. Like, Rock, you got to be moving. That's why Rock and Cena never really had good chemistry, because Cena doesn't work like that. It's just different working styles. Cena don't work like that. Cena and Rock works tight. Like, Rock latches you in for a Rock line, you got to jump, man. You got to get up.
Yeah.
Rock. That's why Rock and Austin worked so well, because Austin was interchangeable. Austin could work. Yeah. Austin could work fast or slow. Austin just could work with him. They had that chemistry. But you can't get that with the Triple H could do it, but Triple H finds a way to mesh his slow style with The Rock during those matches. But Triple H has to be healthy. Triple H has to be really healthy. Yeah. I mean, Triple H has to be really, really freaking healthy. Like
You want to add some, Pike?
I'm all for Triple H and Rock next year.
If he's healthy.
I enjoyed that little thing on me. Anytime Ronda Rousey's doing anything, I'm gonna give it A+.
Didn't they go out to lunch one time on Raw? Like, didn't Rock and Triple H and Steph go out one time together?
No, they were talking about going out, and then Triple H and Rock kept picking at each other, and then Rock called him a cheat master.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was funny. Yeah.
That was fucking great. See, that guy go again.
They have good on-screen chemistry. Those two are freaking.
The way they keep picking at each other year to year, they have to. I mean,
they beef all the time.
The promos will be excellent.
I just try to imagine what those two would be like sitting at a table across from each other.
Picking at each other. Let's each other's balls.
Good God.
It'd be like the Stone Cold Triple H podcast a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Just be like that.
Yeah. So next on the card is Wyatt versus The Undertaker. Good opening by Wyatt. The Scarecrow, wish it was darker.
I liked it. I really liked that
Unfortunately,
entrance.
because in California, they couldn't have the darkness like they wanted.
Yeah.
And it was good to see Taker back. And he seemed a lot healthier than he was last year.
Yeah.
He looked fresh.
He actually, the funny thing, when he took his hat off, I said to myself, he's dressed like the American Badass version.
In a way, yeah.
And, he was very healthy. He looked a lot better, I think, this year than he did last couple years.
He felt good out there. He got out there and had fun.
Pretty decent match. The one spot I liked was when Wyatt was doing the crawling and
that was
over.
That's still shot. I'll never forget this.
Taker rose up and
the
Wyatt
spider,
turned around.
Yeah, when they were locked in that one moment where they were staring each other down, like, I immediately refreshed my Twitter and it was all over Twitter. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Dude, you just see that in the background, like when he walks over and Taker sits up, you just see everybody go, oh my God.
The thing I gotta say, I've been, for the whole last year, I've been kind of on the ropes with myself about Taker coming back, because I was at WrestleMania 30 last year when the streak came to an end. And it was literally like a moment where time just stood still. Nobody could believe that.
I nearly had a heart attack.
Well, the thing is, when I found out he was going to come back this year, I thought, it's nice to be able to watch him wrestle and not be so uptight during the whole match. I just want to see him wrestle a good match, because he'll do that no matter what. But I got to say, though, it's been a year since the streak ended, and from a creative standpoint, I don't see what benefit that made anything.
No, it didn't.
At first, I grew to be okay with it because I thought, okay, well, it sickened me that the streak was all everybody talked about because the Taker has given so much more than that.
The legacy is about more than the streak.
It hurt me as a kid growing up in the '90s and being a big Undertaker fan. It really broke my heart that so many kids today weren't being educated of how great he was. Long before the streak was ever a big deal.
And here's the thing about Undertaker. I don't, if he wants to keep coming back for WrestleMania, I honestly don't have a problem with it. As long as he can stay healthy and just keep him back, I don't mind. He has one loss. It's still the streak to me. In retrospect, I was hurt. I wish he hadn't lost to Brock, but at the same time, the guy, I'm not hating on the guy right now for coming back. I think he still gave us a good match.
Yeah.
The match was good. He's 21 and 1.
22
and 1.
Well, that was another thing. If you looked out in the crowd during WrestleMania, there were some people who just kept saying 23 and 0. They don't buy it.
As long as if he wants to keep coming back, as long as they just keep it to that one for the rest of his career, I can live with that. I can live with that because that one involved Paul Heyman and it really elevated Paul Heyman. I could live with that. I can live with that one because it really went to somebody worthy and it was Paul Heyman. But like I said, as long as they didn't lose again, I can live with it. I can live with this. But and plus the moment, we got two things out of that loss. We got one of the greatest Paul Heyman moments of all time.
Yeah.
And we got one of the greatest shockers in sports history.
Oh yeah,
it was on everybody was talking about it. It was all over the news.
Man, Daniel Bryan spent 10 minutes celebrating in that ring at the end of WrestleMania 30 last year. But as I was leaving the Superdome, everybody was talking about Taker. Nobody gave a rat's ass about Daniel Bryan after that.
Yeah, it's like.
But back to what we were saying about this particular match, I gotta tell you, Bray Wyatt to me, and I guess me wearing the shirt here kind of gives it away.
He is wearing a Bray Wyatt shirt.
I think Bray Wyatt is one of the.
That's a Wyatt shirt?
Yeah, the new Face of Fear is written on the back.
Oh.
But
nice.
I think Bray Wyatt is one of the best characters in WWE right now. Because in this day and age, it's no secret to anyone how scripted wrestling is. But when Bray Wyatt comes out on Raw, whether he's in a match, doing a promo, or whatever, you believe that is really him.
He's doing great.
I don't know if it really is or not, but you believe that he is that character. And he plays it so well.
He gets it over. I really like that.
He reminds me of Mankind, Raven, and Jake the Snake all in a hybrid. And it's almost like his appearance is that of a Rob Zombie character.
Or like a satanic version of a Godwin brother.
Yeah, but I mean, he is just such.
Wouldn't he? He would have been great, wouldn't he? Devil's Rejects?
Yeah, he would have. Yeah.
They do.
But he is just such a good character. And when he first came out and really started being the character, I thought, man, this guy would have been awesome against The Undertaker back in the 90s if he had been there.
Would have been interesting.
And then when he started calling out Taker, I'll never forget the explosion of excitement I had when he came out of the casket at Fastlane.
Oh my God!
And called Taker out. I was like, yes, they're going to do it.
I was like, Bray, what are you doing?
And that moment on Raw when Taker responded by setting lightning to the chair.
That was great.
That was one of the best Taker moments in the history of Raw, I think, and he wasn't even there.
The chair lightning was excellent. I did like that.
But Bray Wyatt and Taker, I think, as characters meshed really well, and despite the fact that Wyatt's half his age in real life, they did good in the ring. They really pushed each other, I think, to the limit.
They didn't have to do too much, but they gave you what they gave you the meat. They gave you the meat and taters.
And we were saying earlier how the still shot of Taker sitting up was iconic. Another big iconic moment was when Bray had him in Sister Abigail set up, and he grabbed him by the throat.
That was good.
That to me was another well executed moment there.
I did like that.
And I think even though Taker won the match, I think he elevated Bray Wyatt several notches.
Yeah,
I definitely
got him over. He did get him over.
Yeah, I remember watching the. They don't show it on the pay-per-view, but you can see on the network the bits where they show you stuff that didn't air. As Wyatt walked out, the crowd applauded him.
Oh,
like they really applauded.
They applauded?
Oh, yeah, cool. That's the little bits they don't show you because they jump to commercial.
I'm glad they did. He deserved it. I'm glad they did it. What do we have?
All right. On to the next match, the final match, the WWE Heavyweight Title match between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar.
Oh Lord, here we go, guys. Okay, who wants to start this one out?
All right. After shedding on it so much on the last episode, this was pretty much a great match. Very violent. I mean,
yeah, definitely. I didn't think blood was allowed anymore.
The smiling.
Well,
yeah,
that and
he took that shit.
I mean, you don't know if it was stage or was Brock really pissed. Because
we just recognized, which is now going to be a new great catchphrase.
Yeah.
Suplex City Bitch.
Yeah, like
song?
When he said Suplex City Bitch, it was like all of a sudden the next 50 tweets on the WWE Universe were hashtag Suplex City Bitch.
Did anyone hear the full song?
Well, I heard the one that somebody made beforehand, and then I saw the one with Heyman made on Heyman Hustle.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
that was kind of weak.
Yeah,
I like the one. I like the other one because it was.
It's amazing how in the digital age, such little things can take on a life of their own.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But like you guys were saying about the match, my 2 cents on it was it lived up to the hype a lot more than I thought it would, and I was very convinced for a few minutes Roman Reigns was going to beat him. I would have bought it had that happened.
At the end, they did bloody him. Like on the last show, I remember I was discussing what Roman Reigns would have to do to get over. And I was saying, he would literally have to bleed like the Passion of the Christ. And he took a whopping, which I'm glad that he took that. And I read somewhere where, I don't know if this was rumor or whatnot, but apparently there was a lot of the locker room who felt Roman Reigns was robbed. I don't feel that way.
Well, actually, it was his family. They were mad at the ending and wanted him to lead her. He was just stupid.
Well, the thing about the way the match ended, first of all, I credit it for being unpredictable because I totally did not see that coming.
We knew they had to do something. It was either at the show or at Raw.
I totally. It was one of those things where that shows you that's a testament to how good the match was because it got you so sucked into the match that you forgot all the other likelihoods that could happen. And when the match was over, I thought to myself, that was kind of a crappy ending, but at the same time, I don't think Roman Reigns lost any credibility. I think he came away from the match with more belief.
I think they protected him, but at the same time, it's like one of those instances where this was a match where even WWE, even the most stubborn of the staff at WWE who hate to listen to the fans had to hear us on this one because it was the fact that Roman Reigns, obviously they were the ones who made these rules. They said that they're looking for a good world champion. They're the ones who make the standards by which we judge. They say that the good world champion's got to be able to talk, or otherwise they don't talk. They're the ones who tell us that we're supposed to look for people who can talk to us. They're supposed to look. The guys got to have the look. Roman Reigns had the look. Roman Reigns, but see, Roman Reigns lacked is he didn't have a lot of range in the ring. His in-ring range is very limited, and his promos are terrible, but he's great. He can still get in there and work and pull off a great match, which is why I think they did a good job protecting him. But that's why a lot of a good 85% of everyone was saying that Roman Reigns cannot beat Brock Lesnar, and the reason here's another thing: that last match at Fastlane. There's no justifiable way any of us were going to believe any other outcome than what we saw WrestleMania night. Yeah. Brock Lesnar survived going through a tail, still got up and started whooping ass. Nothing could stop Brock Lesnar. He's unstoppable. He's like Goldberg level now. He's like Broly.
That's the thing that kind of bothers me about Brock Lesnar being champion. I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about the guy. He's a tremendous athlete, and he deserves everything he has. But it's just like, I mean, even though we know it's scripted, you still want to be somewhat convincing, and I just don't think you can convincingly beat Brock Lesnar. No, the only way to get the title off of him would be like we saw at was it Fastlane or Royal Rumble when they had the triple threat match?
It was like
Triple threat.
Yeah,
but that was one of the best triple threat matches I ever saw in my life. And that, to me, is the only legitimate way you could get the title away from him. Because
at that point,
as good as Roman Reigns came out doing in that match at WrestleMania, I still don't think many people would have bought that.
Here's why people want Daniel Bryan to do it so bad. Because here's the thing about Daniel Bryan's character. Despite it being nearly impossible to beat Brock Lesnar, people would be willing to buy Daniel Bryan beating Brock Lesnar because of the determination. Of course, Daniel Bryan would have to take as much a beating as Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
But the difference maker in a singles match for him is that Daniel Bryan is a lot more technical. He's Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon. He knows ways he can hurt Brock Lesnar.
Oh yeah,
he's more credible to defeat Brock
Lesnar. It'd be like in the movie The Protector when Tony Jaa beat up those muscle guys.
That's exactly what it would be like. Daniel Bryan can beat Brock Lesnar one-on-one. The one that they built up, the Daniel Bryan they built up to that title win, that man could beat Brock Lesnar. It would be a hell of a struggle. And if you put it in like a matchup of like 10 matches, a 10-match series, I'd say he may win maybe 4 times out of that 10. But he can beat Brock Lesnar one-on-one. Yeah. At a WrestleMania main event, I think his willpower could overcome it. The character's willpower, the technical knowledge, the years of more experience that he has over Brock, he could beat Brock Lesnar. Power or no power. He could find a way. He could protect himself in those instances, in those dire instances. He knows counters to German suplex. He could get out of it. It would have been a better match. It would have been a better main event. That's why the fans wanted it so bad. Plain and simple.
The Seth Rollins winning it, though, it was kind of a low blow at first after the match itself had been so good up to that point. But I understood it. They threw the curveball in there, and I respected it because, like I said, it made it unpredictable.
Seth is over,
and that's what I want more than anything when I watch wrestling.
Seth is over. He's over right now. That they needed him to get the belt because that's perfect fuel to give Randy something to do as well.
Right.
They needed Seth to get the belt, and Brock's not going to lose any momentum. Brock's going to be Brock.
He showed that.
Yeah, exactly. Brock's going to be Brock. All Brock's got to do is show up and do damage. That's all he's got to do. He's got the best job in the world. All he does is show up and beat people up. That's all he does, and he can get the title.
Oh yeah.
But you know,
I guarantee he's going to get it back easily.
Roman Reigns just needs a year, man. He just needs to wait. They know this. They knew this. They knew this going in. I don't know who back there, whether it was Kevin or somebody, was pushing for Roman Reigns, or maybe it was just Vince, who was pushing for Roman Reigns to get this title. But whoever it was got shut down because not only was the entire fan base telling them not to do this, I'm sure a lot of people in the back were saying, no. Are you kidding me? Have you seen his promos? He's not ready. Have you seen his movesets aren't there? He can get in there and go with anybody, but his movesets aren't there to take it to the next level. He's not ready yet.
Somebody on Twitter said something, I think it was a couple weeks before WrestleMania, and it was a legitimate thought, I guess I had, but the tweet said, not knocking the guy as a wrestler, but in all honesty, does anyone give a shit about Roman Reigns at all? Yeah, and as I read that tweet, I was like,
not knocking, but who gives a shit?
but they were seriously like just wondering.
A bunch of women.
Yeah.
Maybe, those, if they like the Samoan stuff.
It's the look. Part of the business is about the look. But here's the thing. Here's the difference. I'll give you a prime example. Since we're talking about this, we talked about Hall of Fame. Okay, I'll give you a prime example. Kevin Nash was not a great worker. He's never been a great worker. Kevin Nash, though, not only did he have the look, and not only did he have Roman Reigns' power and the physique and whatnot, Kevin Nash could talk. Nash could talk. Roman Reigns can't talk. Roman Reigns has the look. He has the power. He has a good moveset. But it's not as wide variety. But honestly, if you really watched Kevin Nash's career, Kevin Nash had a wider move variety when he was cut loose before he got lazy. He had a way wider move variety than Roman Reigns. Well, Kevin Nash could work.
Well, it's like you were saying about his mic skills. When Roman Reigns said that line about how they asked him, "Can you beat Brock Lesnar?" He says, "I can and I will." And then the next day, there's T-shirts all over WWE shop with that very phrase on the back of it. And I thought to myself, really, that's what you're giving this man? That is his catchphrase.
It just.
I mean, my God, man, give me a break.
It's not. It just wasn't a good sale. It wasn't. They didn't sell it.
But when Kevin Nash came out and called himself Big Sexy Kevin Nash, everybody bought that shirt because it was legit. That's what he wanted, you know?
He was a badass.
But they're not giving Roman Reigns, I think, enough creativity to stand out.
Would you not agree that his character is somewhat stoic? Like, his character is a little dry at most. I mean, he doesn't have he's not showing a personality beyond that cold stare he has. There's nothing more there. Whereas Kevin Nash had a personality. Kevin Nash you knew who Kevin Nash was, you know.
But it was a pretty good match, and I'm okay with Seth Rollins winning the title. He is over, and out of anybody in the Shield, it would be between him and Dean Ambrose.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty good WrestleMania. The only bad thing about WrestleMania, if I had to pick the bad thing, was the announcers.
Yeah,
I think WrestleMania is one of those times where they need to pull good old JR back to the table every year. If only that one time a year, JR has to do it.
Pay him whatever he wants.
Yeah, but he's still on the fritz for them.
I know.
Yeah, I heard all about that. But you know, I think my only complaint about WrestleMania, and this is going to sound real lame because it's not a fair complaint if you think about it, but was The Undertaker's entrance just was not captivating. One of the biggest moments, and if you've ever seen a WrestleMania live, you understand this a lot better. But the Undertaker's entrance is, I mean, it's like a movie. You have to be captivated by it.
But they were in the opening, it was dark.
Yeah, that was the problem. It wasn't dark outside, therefore you couldn't sell it too well. So it wasn't really the WWE's fault. It just didn't work out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're gonna do a rapid fire of Raw after WrestleMania.
Okay.
Raw opened up with Heyman and Lesnar coming out demanding a rematch. Stephanie telling Brock that Rollins hadn't gotten back in yet because if you did not see WrestleMania, the champion was supposed to do the Today Show the next day and self did. So Stephanie told Brock that he had to wait. So the opening match was the Intercontinental title match between Dolph Ziggler versus Daniel Bryan. Great match.
It was a great match.
Daniel Bryan won with Barrett coming in and attacking him. Then out of nowhere comes Sheamus with this goofy mohawk and braid with rubber bands on his mustache. He got rid of Barrett, but then he attacked Daniel Bryan and then attacked Dolph Ziggler, which sent his heel turn.
Yeah, I had a moment on Twitter during that whole Sheamus reemerging, and I don't know where it came from. It just spilled right out of me, and I tweeted this, and it got me like 7 favorites in an hour, and I was proud of that. I basically said, because they had an overhead shot of Sheamus at one point, I was like, it looks like he's got a vagina on his head, and it's cracked open. That's what I tweeted, and everybody on my Twitter who's a wrestling fan and was watching it, they were all like, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Tommy Moskaly, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, I'm sorry, the guy looked stupid, and the crowd agreed with me. I mean, I've never heard a crowd care so much that they had to chant that.
Jesus. Let's go. Move on. We're doing rapid fire.
Okay.
Sorry.
Anything you want to add, Mike? Oh my God. I can't probably speechless.
That's gonna go in the top 10 for Triple Threat.
Sorry, Mike.
I thought it would happen if you put ketchup on whipped cream. That's what it looked like to me.
Well, you know, that does kind of go hand in hand with what I said, even though that's
Alright. Next match, Cesaro and Tyson Kidd.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Alright. Cesaro.
I'm glad he's back, though, you know, as a heel, so thank God.
Yeah.
No more stories about his paw and his homeland, you know.
God, move on.
Cesaro and Tyson Kidd and Ascension versus the Lucha Dragons and the New Day. Oh, Green Day.
Oh, yeah, the Lucha Dragons.
Clap, clap. Clap, clap. That's why we clap. Oh, God.
Good match, but we had to deal with the whole New Day sucks chance.
Yeah.
Which was crazy.
New Day sucks.
Ninja Dragons and Green Day won. We get a vignette for Adrian Neville that was coming up to the roster soon.
Oh, why didn't he keep the Adrian part of it? I thought that was a cool name together.
Neville, as they call him now. WWE title match, Lesnar versus Seth Rollins. Rollins come down and pretty much said that he wasn't going to wrestle because he had jet lag, his foot hurt, which pissed off Brock and sent Brock into a frenzy. Brock tried to give him a suplex, but Rollins landed on his feet. He grabbed him on the outside, was going to F5 him, but then J&J security got in the way, and Seth was able to get away. Lesnar took out J&J security, and then one of the best moments in Raw history, Lesnar took out the whole announced team by just lifting up the table and took out both Booker T and JBL.
It was
Michael Cole got away, but was caught in the ring. And then was F5 in the ring.
When I saw him push the table,
How you doing?
and the other two guys, and they all went down, I was like, why are the other two guys hurt? I know Cole got F5, but a table gets pushed in your face and you're hurt.
Yeah,
Booker T and JBL of all people.
He hulked it.
WWE logic.
Yeah, WWE logic.
I said, yeah, it must be.
So Brock got one of the cameramen was about to F5 and Stephanie comes out, tells him to put him down, that he's a civilian.
You know that cameraman got a bonus.
And because that Lesnar F5'd him, and that caused Stephanie to suspend Brock indefinitely. And Brock F5'd the guy again, which was perfect for the guards to come out so Brock could whoop their asses.
Yeah, that would have been great.
I guess WWE thought that was overkill. And so we had Stephanie in the back pretty much saying that Brock is definitely gone. He'll still get his rematch, but she wanted him to remind him that of what he said on ESPN that he is signed with WWE.
God, I can't wait to see Paul Heyman try to get him out of this. Anytime Paul Heyman and Stephanie are on screen, there's just so much to see, to take in.
Yeah,
there's just so much to take in.
So without the announcers, WWE sent out what's that dude's name?
I can never remember his name. He doesn't come out, but so rarely.
What was the black dude?
Yeah, the dude. I can't remember his name either.
They've got so many of them now. They aren't as iconic as they used to be.
They're alternates. They have all these alternates now.
Yeah.
They're all journalists.
Who are you talking about?
That announced
Brian Saxon.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
I knew I'd know it if I heard it again.
Yeah. So they did Stardust versus David Sandow. Decent match. Sandow gets the win, and then Miz attacked him from out of nowhere. So let's get this Byron Saxon thing. Pretty much deer in the headlights. I mean, he was totally lost. He looked like he didn't know what the fuck he was supposed to do.
Yeah, he was.
I really don't understand what Vince's MO was about this, but he just sucked. I kind of feel sorry for him.
Yeah, I mean,
the memes were.
I guess it was convincing that he would seem that way, because they want it to be.
But it would have been better if they had gotten what's the name from NXT up there and did it. But
yeah, I mean,
I just didn't get it.
Then you guys see the meme pictures that came out about him? Where Booker T's talking about, you know you don't effed up now. you know effed up, right? You know you effed up, right?
But that pretty much sucked. I think you guys agree with me, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that was awful. Absolutely terrible.
Next match, Curtis Axel versus Neville. Decent match. Good to see Adrian Neville hit Curtis Axel with the red arrow. Got the win.
I wish like hell this Neville guy could wrestle the prime version of Rey Mysterio.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
That would be.
During this, I think this was when the Lawler came out because, he finally realized it was a bad idea having to do that by himself.
Yeah.
And next match was the WWE United States title match with John Cena having the open challenge. Everybody thought Rusev, and one of Saxon's big botches was he thought Rusev would come out. He even named Rusev. Out comes Dean Ambrose. And Dean Ambrose took up the spot and had a pretty good match.
Yeah.
But John Cena won. It's probably seen Dean Ambrose up after what he took that night.
Yeah, that was all. I don't know how he made it.
Rollins did an interview with Renee Young. Says about Lesnar's suspension. Out comes Orton saying that he should get a title shot because he beat him. Then Show and Kane showed up, and Rollins pretty much saying that they're gonna have a 6-man tag, and that Orton should go find 2 more partners, which pretty much displeased to the fans.
Yeah.
Next match: AJ Lee and Naomi versus the Bella Twins and Natalya. Decent match.
Match was going in the middle. It got a little bit. It was a little bit of a clusterfuck to some degree, but they did okay.
Yeah. Winners Naomi and Paige and AJ. And pretty sad that is AJ's last match with the WWE because of this recording. She announced her retirement.
Yep.
From wrestling, WWE. Nobody really knows why. A lot of people speculate, especially after the Bailey pics on her Twitter, with her making jokes about her saying that her and AJ are expecting, and then said that she expects her. Yeah, that was a bit of the joke.
You said her and AJ.
Yeah, but the more the thing is that, or basically because of the trouble with Punk's legal action with the doctor and the WWE.
Yeah.
And the lawsuit may play the role in it. We don't know.
I pretty much guarantee this is going to happen eventually. I mean,
yeah.
Probably been planned out for a while. Just want to have that last send-off with Mania. There you go.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll find out because apparently she's got a book deal, so she might talk about it. As Susie does, she might.
I bet if she ever does talk about it, first place she's going to do it on this Coco Bandits podcast.
I don't think she's going to do that. Not after all the mess that. Well, look what happened to her husband.
I don't think she's going to trash them like that or anything.
Yeah, but still, do you really think she's going to do that to all the crap that?
I seriously see her doing that and going anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
It would be Colt. She would show up for Colt.
You know what I
But
mean?
we wish AJ all the best and hope she does come back.
And I'm sure she'll be a great nurse for Punk after his first UFC fight.
Yeah.
And from here, the show goes kind of downhill. Goldust versus Rusev squash match.
Yeah.
6-man tag, which shocked really nobody. Orton picked Ryback, and Roman Reigns was the special,
Forcer.
No, not Forcer. He was the unknown partner.
Oh, yeah, the special unknown tag.
The crowd pretty much shit on the main event. They pretty much did the whole chants and they did the wave.
They did do the wave. Yeah, I remember they did do the wave.
They even shouted for a Big Show to
Did they
retire.
really say sexist remarks during the Divas match?
Reports said that they were saying that you suck Bryan, you suck Cena, the Bella Twins, which was kind of wrong.
Yeah.
I thought they said you suck.
Huh?
Tyson too, the Natty.
Yeah, they did that to Natty too. But
This one is vicious, man.
Well, if you ever, like I was telling you before, you need to watch Total Divas because you will see just how. Yeah, I mean, like you will be. You might be a little surprised how promiscuous some of them are.
Oh yeah.
What are you talking about?
It's great.
Oh, it's good. It's entertaining as hell. I'm just saying it might surprise you after you've only seen their in-ring.
Okay, dang. So yeah, they're
that one Eva Marie with the red hair. My God, she might as well have a $sign hanging out of her zipper.
Oh wow.
Besides those things, the only other thing I find interesting is what Daniel Bryan eats.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay, so yeah, that. Okay, well.
So they pretty much shit on the match. Basically, Roman Reigns and Ryback and Orton win the match. And then they plug the thing with Sting on the network, which pretty much says he doesn't know what he's up to.
Did you see that, Pike?
What?
That thing on the network where they interviewed Sting at the end of the show?
No, I read about it.
Yeah, man, it was really amazing because they brought him out and Sting, said, I had a great time at WrestleMania, and even though I came up short, it was great to finally be there. And they asked him, so what's next for Sting? Where do you go from here? And before he could even say a word, the crowd started chanting, Undertaker.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah.
And I was sitting there, and I mean, it was so obvious.
I guarantee you that's going to be Mania next year.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I've already set it in stone that I'm going, because the other thing that has me a little skeptical about it is Undertaker is from Texas. So what better way for him to retire than to do it at home, if they decide to do that?
Granted. Yeah.
I mean, it just makes me wonder, are they going to try and build up to that or something?
Well, no DVD, they probably
I would do
will.
like a whole thing about it, have him put out a DVD where he's talking about his whole career and put him in the Hall of
It
Fame.
would be cool.
The thing about Sting and Taker, though, the possibility of that, I know we're short on time, but I just want to ask you guys real quick what your thoughts are, because on YouTube, I don't know if you guys ever listen to Jim Cornette anymore, but he and JR had a good talk about the possibility of that happening. And JR and Jim Cornette both think it would not be good creatively if they did that, because they're worried the audience will be so divided and so torn as to what they want. I don't know if I agree with that or not. I think the audience would love to be in that position where it's tense.
I think it would totally go over.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that be just like with Ultimate Warrior and Hogan?
Well, I mean, that worked very well. I mean, I think Sting and Undertaker, it's one of those things where...
the streak is no more.
Yeah, the streak's no longer an issue.
There's really no issue. So, to me, with Sting losing, that sets it up for even more, skeptical of who might win. Would Taker win or Sting?
You don't know. Yeah.
That would be the biggest benefit, I think, of that match if it were to happen. You literally cannot go in with a moderate guess as to who's going to win.
The only thing that could hurt this match is if both Taker and Sting are not, well enough to do a long match.
Yeah.
If they can get healthy and do this,
they can get healthy and do probably a 30 or 40-minute match.
Yeah.
Then I'm all for it, but it's just like, can they do that for that long and make it credible that people believe it?
If they can go 20 minutes, straight wrestling, if they do 20 minutes, they'll get a 5 from Dave Meltzer, guaranteed.
And the crazy thing is, with Taker and Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 31 just a couple weeks ago, it was exactly as we usually see with Taker. You watch 10, 15 minutes of him, you just want 15 more.
Yeah.
And, that was a great feeling to have once again. And that to me, and this will be my final major remark regarding WrestleMania, I don't know if it was the best WrestleMania ever, like everybody was hashtagging, but I would definitely say it was in the top 5.
Yeah.
Because when I watched WrestleMania 31, I mean, I've watched it several times all the way through since it aired, and it really gave me the same feeling that I get from watching my favorite movies. It reminds you why you're a fan of this stuff to begin with. And as I watched WrestleMania 31, I remember sitting there thinking, this is why I became a wrestling fan at the age of 5.
I was thinking the same thing.
Because it's creative, it's entertaining, and even if you know it's scripted, you still get absorbed into it. And every match on WrestleMania 31's card absorbed me. Some more so than others. But they were all about the same length of time. Nobody dominated the show time-wise. And nobody really stole the show. Everybody came in and kicked ass. And it was, production value-wise, it was a total package. And I would definitely say it trumped the WrestleMania last year. And I was at last year's WrestleMania. So I think that says a lot that it did that good.
That killed it, yeah.
I was gonna go to WrestleMania 31, but then the Patriots went to the Super Bowl, and money had to talk one way or the other for me. So I had to go with the Super Bowl. But I really, watching WrestleMania 31, I felt bad I couldn't be there.
The red pill, the blue pill, gentlemen. The red pill, the blue pill. I'm just gonna put that out there. Okay.
That's not good. All right. That'll be it for Triple Threat this week. Thank you for listening, and please subscribe and comment. I'd like to thank Moskaly for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
California Kid, Pike, and please tell your friends, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.